You can see it in the video, and I can tell you from behind the scenes, every single one of the players on each two teams believe they will make it through this process all the way to the grand final. Please welcome onto the stage, this time, it's Koi! The only major winners from the past year to make it to the grand stage. A team brimming with confidence, saying that their last loss was just a blip. And one thing's for sure, this team absolutely loves a live crowd. I call their opponents the coolest team in esports, and I've got a feeling they've got a huge fan base here this afternoon. It's Astralis! They didn't come into this in the greatest of form. They were shaky in the groups, but they wiped out the major champions and showed the world that they absolutely deserve their place on the main stage. Our next upper lower bracket quarterfinal is lined up, and all of these players are ready to get into the server. But before they do, let's get back over to our analyst desk with Milos.
Thank you very much, Ian, for your introduction. It's always a pleasure to see you on the other side of our stage. Astralis is back in North America. We heard everybody in Charlotte. They're here to compete in Montreal. But Koi, they're no slouches when it comes to handling a crowd. We saw them in Berlin, and some would say without a crowd, it would have not have been the same victory that they were able to achieve at the major. We'll see today. Hello, welcome back to the desk. I'm Medic, your host. With me as we continue on with our day are Jesse, Jerry, Chirk, of course, Mr. Fresh, Jackson, Alan, Jack.
You can call me whatever you want to call me.
Sally. All right, gentlemen, let's set the stage for this, because much like our first matchup, whoever loses this game is knocked out of the tournament. And both of these teams have had a lot of surprises come up against them in our group stage and playoffs.
That they have, Milos. I mean, I think we kind of have two teams with quite different stories, despite the fact they both have had challenges, right? Koi were a team that many people expected to go far in this tournament. They are major champions, okay? They won back in Berlin, and Astralis aren't. They didn't really come close to that. I mean, their last couple of stages have been kind of poor. Stage 3 was had some problems with it, right? The group stage was a little rocky. So it's kind of a David versus Goliath here, especially when you look at the stats throughout this sixth invitational thus far. But if anybody can make an upset run, it's these guys.
There's a few buzzwords that I would use to describe both of these teams. I think they are so similar to each other that it hurts. One is chaos. Another is consistently inconsistent. We don't know which team's going to turn up from both of these teams because they've had absolute heart-in-mouth moments, especially Astralis, right? Yeah. Their lower bracket run, every single game, every single map 3 they went to was a 7-5 or an overtime. It was so close to them not even being here today across the 3 map 3s that they've played so far. They have. And I think one thing that these two teams have got in common is they are both going to feed off the energy of this crowd.
Exactly. Saw it in Charlotte, saw it in Berlin, but now we'll talk about Koi, our Berlin major champions. Back then we knew them as Rogue. They're known for their star players, their basically duos and trios, and how they function, but also their support staff and how important it is to them. So a bit of a chat about the squad. What do you guys think about Koi?
Well, for Koi, they are a team that is built off 2 things, trust and vibes. Now, they play a very, I would say, standard style of meta with 3 frontline players, 2 backline players. And now what I'm talking about trust is, this is the triangle. If one part falls, it all goes wrong, and it all comes crashing down. And that's what we saw in groups, and we've seen in the playoffs as well. We saw it against W7M. When it goes right, it looks really good, but when it goes wrong, it looks really wrong.
And they are a triangle, and they really do rely on working together. But I think the top of that triangle is a pretty clear point, right? You have to talk about Sploit on this roster. The kid is incredible. Obviously popped off for his first event back in Berlin, won the whole damn thing. Continued to impress throughout this 6th Invitational. 4th highest rated player that we have here at this event. Just barely under a 1.0 KPR. He has been fragging out of his mind consistently. So for him and the rest of Koi, they're going to be looking for another big performance against Astralis.
So now let's take a look at Koi's opponents, or North American squad of Astralis. And Jesse, you know a thing or two about NA teams, right?
I may, Milosh, I may. And these kids, I mean, they are the giant killers, right? They had a really rough stage 3, lots of low points. They went through SCS and really didn't find success there either. They had to come through the group stage. They only won a single game in groups. Meant they started in the lower bracket. Everybody was doubting this squad. You could line them up from Vancouver to Montreal. But then they beat Sonics. They beat Los One, and then they beat BDS, the tournament favorites, by the vast majority of people coming into the 6th Invitational. Astralis have done the impossible and made it to the main stage in front of their home crowd. They must be feeling themselves, but of course there's a long road still to go.
The one thing I think about the way Astralis play is it's a much more international meta, if I was to describe it.
Yeah.
I feel like the NA teams know what's coming, but the international teams do not necessarily know what's coming. It makes them very hard to play. You know, I think of Astralis, I think of big moments, I think of hero plays, iconic, Forest, just balls to the wall, just going for it.
And now you're comparing them, I guess, in gameplay, but if we compare stats, Jack, would it still tell a different story?
When we compare the stats, these two teams have, I would say, very erratic stats. They, despite being on the main stage of the 6th Invitational, we looked at 5 key stats where you don't want to be. Clutches, for one, both of these teams. You don't want to be in the top 10 for clutches because that means you're having to be clutching enough. Multi-kill percent, sure, it could be considered a good thing, but this buys into the narrative that these teams, and a multi-kill percent is a 3K or more. The percentage of rounds one of their players gets a 3K or more in. Entry, they are low, they are bad at entry, both of these two teams. Recovering a round, which is winning a round when you've lost the entry, they're both very good. And then retakes, they're both in the top 10, which means these teams, to put it frankly, are having to pull rounds out of their asses every single game, and it is so chaotic when both of them play.
Yeah, and I think you definitely can look at Koi as the team that's done that more consistently throughout this tournament, right? They obviously have a similar playstyle where they do want to be kind of getting scrappy into the late rounds. But at the same time, I do feel like Astralis have an edge that Koi just don't.
Which is, come on, man.
Have they signed new ones?
It's everybody in this arena around us. We're in an NA crowd.
An NA crowd, come on, man.
You can talk about how both these teams feed off the energy, and that's absolutely true. But this building's not sending energy in equal directions. This is the crowd buff, and if we look at the year's games, this is every match that was played in front of an audience through year 7. When it was a home team versus an away team, the home team's got a pretty good record. DZ and Oxygen in Charlotte, Wolves and Rogues in Berlin, and then BDS, of course, in Yongshiping. It is good to be the home team.
And now on from the crowd buff, as we see the teams getting ready for our matchup, we go to our map bans. A 9-map pool that we have in Esports here in Rainbow Six. We get for 4 bans, and a pick, 2 bans, and a decider. Bank is first, where Koi start off on the attack. All right, that is a Astralis pick defense on Bank. I need to double check that. And I think production is also double checking it as we get it all set and ready on the score. We got some Astralis fans in here, right? They're on this side of the screen. Well, let's hope that the team has the same amount of energy here, because I'll be asking for predictions from our analysts in a bit. But here they are, Bank starting on defense for Koi. Makes a lot of sense, right? You go for a second one, which we would like to see for just a second. Did you guys catch that?
Nope.
I can barely see from here. I got myopia. I can't really do too well with that.
I can pull it up on my iPad.
I believe the maps should be Bank, going into Oregon, going into Border for our 3 maps here.
Okay,
Son?
surprises.
Okay, so if we talk about Bank and Oregon and Border, so holistically, the Bank and the Border for Koi, I would say the way these two teams' map pools align is that Astralis have a bigger map pool where they like a lot of maps. Koi have a bit more of a condensed map pool, but they love certain maps. Now, there's 3 maps that Koi love. Bank, Border, Skyscraper. They've got 2 of them. So for me, this completely hinges on their map pick of Bank. Should they lose that, I imagine Astralis are going to be very strong in Oregon and it will be a 0-2. Should they win it, we will see a Border as an absolute classic.
Yeah, and I think Bank is pretty comfy for both these squads, right? For Koi, it's their most played map of the year, including 2 plays, both wins here at the 6th Invitational, beating Elevate 8-7 and the Space Station in a much more dominant 7-2. And for Astralis, looking at Bank for this first map, 2 of their first opponents picked Bank against them, both Auction and Cyclops. OXG did win, but they got the win over Cyclops themselves.
So now our predictions. What do they look like? Our 2 analysts sat back before we knew what the map bans were earlier today. Wow, fresh for Koi, but also Jesse, we got a trade over here.
I knew this was
Putting these up.
Even the NA analyst thinks that Koi is going to take it. You better justify to these people.
I'm not taking heat.
I didn't realize we were putting this up there, to be totally honest.
Well, yes, you did.
Listen, Koi are an extremely dominant team, right? And they have the players to back it up. Spoit has been ridiculous throughout the tournament thus far. I have a lot of trust in Leon as a support player and as a caller for this team. Astralis, they've had their struggles, right? Shuttle's not had the best tournament, so yeah, I went Koi. I'm sorry.
Do you still stand by it now that you see the map bans? Lobby's ready.
Yes.
I'm doing it. I'm sticking with my guns. I can't fall to the mob.
There you go. It's not on me. All right, all right. I know we're booing, but we're about to get in the game, so we need some more action with that. Are you ready? There we go. It's a classic EU versus NA. It's Koi v Astralis. Onto our casters. It's Pengu and Intero.
Thank you so very much, Milos. As you heard, we're excited for this matchup, but before we get started, there's been one question that's been asked all week long, and I'm going to ask it again, Nick.
What's that? As long as you're comfortable and confident, it doesn't matter what you do, Parker, you'll find success.
Thank you very much to Liam for providing this prop, and great joy on this broadcast. It's great to be back in Montreal and see a team from North America compete. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Dez and Fluke were really nice to you, but you could have been much louder in that first game, and I am going to shame you if you do not live up to the hype of an SI crowd. So one last time, I want you to get loud for Koi versus Astralis.
It's better.
That's significantly better.
Much better.
The lower bracket quarterfinal, one of these teams goes home. Astralis is on a miracle run right now, Nick.
Yep.
Playing almost every single map that they can play. They're gonna have their hands full against Koi. Operators will come in and we're gonna go to Bank for map number 1.
Very exciting first episode between these two teams. It's all about the map dynamics, the opening picks, and both teams, they fight so well for those early engagements. Operator bands coming out. Dokkaebi, a staple from Koi every single map, time and time again. And whoa! It's Mira. Pretty basic. But in between those two first and last operator bands, you see the information being removed from the board by both teams, the Valkyrie and the Zero. That's due to the sheer scale that Bank has as a map. Information, such a key element for the defending side. But this also opens up this big question mark for Astralis to deal with when the side sword comes. The nuke has been left open and is going to be put into action in this first round by Astralis themselves.
Attackers need to locate and
All right.
as many bombs as they can.
Starting on the bottom floor of Bank, this is a map that has been played quite a lot here at this event, Nick.
It is.
It's been played twice by Koi. It was an 8-7 victory over Elevate and a 7-2 victory over Space Station. In the groups, Koi didn't really need to play that much after the groups. As for Astralis, again, out of every single series that Astralis was in, there's only one more map they could have played. Every Astralis series, except for their series in the groups, against CAG went to all 3 maps. They have played an unbelievable amount of Rainbow Six Siege here. And because of that, they have played quite a lot of maps as well.
Yeah, and it kind of bodes the question as well about fatigue, right? Because these are long days, and it's a very long event as well. There is one big difference now, however. There's a crowd. No matter how tired you are as a player, no matter how grim the odds might be looking, the crowd can fuel you round by round all the way through all the three maps that you might see.
Last time we were back here in 2020, there's no denying that the crowd were able to will Space Station back into action in the grand finals against NIP. Did that crowd buff give SSG a world championship?
I mean,
the Brazilian fans seem to think so. There's the first pick. Iconic hops in Skylight. Down goes Spoit. And there's another to follow. What? The King breaching into the sight. But there's a Capkin trap to stop him. Kanto down to Shuttle. Astralis trading out, and I'm sorry.
Ending.
The diffuser going down. There's a single player left. Crying in a 1v4. What was 2 minutes left in the round has been reduced to just a couple seconds. Another one of those Capkin traps hit. The Shuttle up top for that insurance policy, and Astralis make round number 1 look so simple.
The only point of damage Koi could do in that entire round were the Capkin traps. And Iconic, he's had a rather quiet tournament so far, and it was, if you go back to Charlotte Major, it was him being the kingmaker every single round for Astralis. Opening round, he's right back with that crowd, showing that just what he can do. He belongs in this arena.
It was at one point during the Charlotte Major, we kept hyping him up because he was like top in almost every single stat.
Yeah.
Does he take the crown from Shaiko, who had that designation as being the best player at this event? But then Astralis knocked BDS out of SI. Hold on a second here. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a Caveira on the board.
On the second round.
This is not that uncommon on this map, though.
It is a big map, and there's lots of places to hide, and you see Cryan all the way down in the basement, just hiding in the corner, avoiding all the drones, right? Cryan's entire purpose in this round is to go unnoticed. Then come up a flank, up a staircase at some point in the round, usually late in that round, try and find an isolated target from Astralis, and if he can get off a successful interrogation, that's almost a guaranteed round victory for Koi. It is that simple in theory, but in reality, besides drone work and how they play together, not gonna be easy.
That's better.
Slower second round. Koi is holding on to angles. They don't want to get rushed once more. Iconic with that early drone is looking for the next entry point for Astralis. Selma charges going off, 90 wall opened up, nothing to denied. Even if there was, Astralis, they bring out the Thatcher, the EMPs, they'll tear through any wall at any point in the map.
Didn't you tweet about this after that very first game, that the lurkers are the ones who are setting the tune?
They certainly are.
Setting the tone. Leon Gidd's first to die. Speaking of lurkers, the Solus is gone. Iconic is on the hunt.
Oh, yeah, you see it there. Open
That's
area
the pick.
entry.
And he gets him. Caveira still sneaking away. EMP goes off. Spoit, you can't shoot that. Astralis' entrance coming over towards square. Cryan is on top of blue, so he can sneak up on them. They have the numbers advantage, so Astralis can put somebody on that flank watch. Down goes Forest. Koi gets on the board.
Need more, though. JNNO walking up, but it's Iconic with a second kill in the round. Cryan with a possible flank.
He sees this, he'll ascend the back stairs. Koi fighting back on the bomb site. These two teams wrestling for control. Astralis in trouble, though. They're about to get exposed by the Caveira. As long as he gets in, Shuttle gets the drop onto Spoit. 2v2. Cryan still on the board, but he's been spotted taking some damage. The game is up. There's no surprise here. Well, it's whiz past the head of J90. Shuttle good for 4 kills. He was the lowest rated player at this event, but 5 kills to start off, and Shuttle has shown up huge.
Not just that, but when you got Cryan running away from a gunfight, you know it's not looking good for Koi. Usually, Koi is a team, they want to get in these engagements, but they're being shut down in the early, mid, and late round by Astralis. And one number I was looking at before this game started was Astralis. They're not a very successful opening kill team. They're barely positive on their entry stats. The one saving grace for this team so far has been their teamwork and coordination and their clutches. Astralis, with the #1 amount of clutches in the entire tournament so far, is sitting on 21 individual 1vx's. Koi, in comparison, sitting on 12. That is a big difference in rounds 1. But in the first 2 opening rounds so far, it's been Astralis' individual performance being the difference maker, getting early kill, getting map control, and applying pressure onto Koi where they cannot just fight back in even numbers.
Seconds to go.
This map picked by Koi, Nick.
Yeah, they should win it, right?
Oh,
But
that's the thought process.
yeah,
Again, it was played by Koi twice.
Attackers are heading out to the
They're 2-0 on it. As for Astralis, they actually played Bank on the very first day, a 3-7 loss to OXG. Will be competing in the very next series once this one finishes. OXG versus W7M, winner of that goes to the grand finals and gets Saturday off.
it's pretty sweet.
Have a spa day, maybe. Some nice R&R. Who knows?
I think it's worth noting out that you said Astralis played this map 3 times, but they only beat CIG on it.
Oh. Surrender the very first pick in that round. Down goes Spiff. Spiff has had an extraordinary event so far. Forrest is lost as well. Window goes open. Spoit prepared upstairs. Astralis' advance is being swatted away. They can't even get in the building without taking a beating.
Well, Shuttle's still alive, Parker. Anything can happen.
6-0 for Shuttle, and we will continue to mention his performance. 7-0 maybe? No. 6-1. Leon Gids reduces Astralis to just J9-0. There's a Maestro cam staring at him. It's over his shoulder. They have the information. J9-0. Softened up from multiple angles. Leon Gids credited with the final pick. Koi get on the board.
And they need that. Once you start losing 3-4 rounds in a row on the very first game on the big stage, you can start shaking. And mentally, it's hard to come back from. So Koi finding one of the first 3 rounds, it's going to bode well for them against Shuttle with the entry, but it didn't matter that much because in a 3 versus 5, or a 2 versus 5 rather, you're down so bad in numbers. There are so many opponents to fight, left, right, and center. Leon with 2 on the round, secures the round for Koi. Seeing Kenzo on a stage like this again with a crowd, it never gets old. Maybe I'm biased, but it warms my heart.
Yeah, whether you're cheering for Koi or not, I think you'd have a soft spot for some of the players on the team.
Yeah. The history.
It's hard to dislike Kanto.
It is hard to.
As a player and as a persona, it's hard to dislike him.
It doesn't say much. It's easy to, he's just there.
He was such a nice boy on Ents, and then you took him over.
No. We didn't.
You and Fabian's influence on him
5 seconds.
Made him a beast.
made him a world champion.
That it did.
Attacker's objective is to locate a bomb and defuse
I
it.
mean, you must be proud of seeing G2 succeed on stage as well.
I was proud. It also felt odd, however, seeing them walk onto stage and I wasn't a part of the squad. But yeah, heartwarming victory for sure.
Great first series, obviously. We've been treated to some of the best Siege that we've watched in a long, long time. The groups were good, but the knockout stage that followed in stage 2 was just, every game was a nail-biter.
Yeah, it was fantastic Rainbow Six Siege, and honestly, every single team is so close in competition these days. There are no free victories and free rounds being won. It's outplays left and right, always.
Yeah, no teams getting pity invites either.
No. And you saw what happened if you do. If your Viden team was not good enough to be at the competition, they won't make it very far.
Sorry, you made top 8.
We did. No main stage, though.
Back upstairs, second attempt at this bomb site for Koi. Their only victory coming on open area. Astralis might have assumed that it would be a downstairs take. Spoy, damage through the walls, secured is crying, and now the Monty's in the site. Astralis not wasting any time whatsoever. It's just Leon Gids upright, and he's done. These rounds so dominant. When Astralis wants the round over, they make it happen.
And they're everywhere. When Monty is ADSing 2 different members in a round, it's because Monty is not really under any pressure from the defending team, and that's because Shuttle, once again, iconic, they're supporting Monty on the entry. It's 4 is starting it, but it's Shuttle to end the round for them. And Spiff dropping down that main stage Skylar just opens things up further. Everywhere. What a trade.
The beauty of LAN getting to see all these kills. Honestly, for a momentum-based team, this start is enormous for Astralis.
Yeah.
To have them come in, making this run through the lower bracket, fighting off death every single step of the way.
And now having the crowd as well.
Crowd buff is huge. This does really remind me of Charlotte, though. I mean, obviously, Astralis came in as a team that we knew were good, and a lot of people speculated that they could make a deep run, but it still felt like because we were used to the Astralis team, that I'm just going to come out and say it. We're not really good at the beginning. They made some roster moves. They bring in Forrest. They bring in Khaled as a coach. And suddenly, this is a team that makes it to the major finals.
Yeah.
And puts up one hell of a fight against DZ, a team that is, I think, indisputably far more experienced than them.
Certainly.
And then we come into this event, and you looked at the teams from North America that everybody had as your favorites, and most people were saying Sonics.
Yep.
A lot of people were saying OXG. Astralis sent Sonics home. And then a lot of people said, well, BDS looks so good. And Astralis sent BDS home. And suddenly, I think people are starting to clue in that maybe this isn't some fluke run from Astralis, but that while they might have had a slow run through groups, they finished 4th in their group. That now they've had time to gel, and they're able to beat some of the best teams here.
Yeah, I mean, you can't argue against that. Beating out some of the best teams that put you in a position of you are a threat, not to be underestimated. Spiff, so young, looking so good.
Okay.
And one.
And Spiff has another, but it's a sloppy duel against Spoit. God, that one was ugly. Yokai drone concussing Shuttle. He doesn't see Kanto and Square. Long range. Koi takes the advantage in numbers.
Kanto's isolated.
He is,
He
but
has no help.
he's gonna go through main lobby. Forrest will hunt him down. Astralis cannot afford to keep one player on Kanto watch because they don't have the same numbers. Oh, it doesn't matter if you send one after him. Kanto was ready, he had the read, another will come in, and he wins that one too. He dies, but not before dragging J90 down with him, and it's iconic in a 1v3. Half the round to go. What can you accomplish?
It's a basement defense, by the way. All the action happening upstairs, and I mean, even the drone is in garage. To scout for information, but with 3 enemies to find, the crossfire being steps on the hedge drop, it's not easy.
He's gonna take this engagement against the Goyo, but Spoit is repositioned. The crossfire from Koi is good enough. A close game, final round of the first half. Astralis can't lose it. Koi looking for the tie.
Before the round just started, by the way, Koi called their tactical timeout. So they're hitting those breaks. Maybe the coach of Koi, of course, giving some words of encouragement, possibly a strategical change in how Koi plays these rounds because they're playing super aggressive on the roam, right? Far off the bomb side with those Yokai drones from Deepic, assisting the roam, fighting Astralis on all the entry points, and it worked out so much better in their favor. Open area bomb site. It's another bomb site where you can just exploit the size of Bang. Play upstairs, play downstairs, the evil eyes, the information game is massive. Tagger repicks, of course, you can see it right side of your screen. Astralis are changing up their approach significantly. Not gonna opt for the Ying for the execute, but get some more soft beat utility. Verticality on the sledge, those for terror drones on the Flores. They recognize the Asami and Maestro are a problem for them.
Keeping that same backbone of Yana, Ash, and Ace, but other than that, more soft destruction. Lots of soft destruction here. And you're right. I mean, this is the way it's always been. The more bulletproof gadgets that exist on defense, the more you have to answer that on attack. That's why Zofia was so strong for so long. Ash, Finka, Yana. When Buck had nades, Buck obviously Sledge now.
Yeah.
You have to answer with their indestructible gadgets, with whatever explosives you have.
But while Sparta's setting up the bomb side, they're also setting up their guns, and this is something that's hard to counter. Sport and Cryan upstairs, they want to engage in these gunfights, and the only real answer if you're an attacker is to shoot back. Gadgets are sure flashbang nades that can help you, but ultimately it comes down to if you can hit the head.
Curious why they swapped off of that Ying, because this is a bomb site where she can do some serious damage if you bring enough soft destruction, especially towards the back of the bomb site. But that's a question for them if they win as to why they would have done this. Forest engaging first, Cryan the first pick! But look at what Forest can accomplish. 2 very fast kills, clearing out CEO upstairs. He's looking for more. It's Spiff now to engage with Kanto on the stairs. Advantage for Astralis, half the round to go.
That's again the gunfights, right? I mean, Forrest, he has 2 nades in pocket, didn't need him. He has 2 drones, didn't need that either. Just goes on in with confidence, seeks the 1v1s, wins them. Oh, he doesn't know. But it's free.
That's the crowd buff in action, isn't it? It's an extra set of eyes playing on cams. Astralis now doubling up on the numbers of Koi. Quadrupling up. Leon Gids isn't so great. Are you kidding me? Starts with 1 kill, but Astralis are better at the trade back. First half in the books. It's Koi's map, but Astralis have already forced Koi to take their time out, and they've grabbed 4 of the first 6 rounds, setting themselves up excellently to go on to what statistically is the better side on Bank through this event, which is defense.
And the thing about Astralis is that the way they won the first 2 rounds, it wasn't, I mean, it was very decisive, and it's like, the round shouldn't really have played out that way. They just stole the show entirely. Iconic on the nuke, found 2 kills in the very first round. Second one, it's Munchie stolen to the bomb side. Koi can't really do much in terms of adaptation in the rounds to come, and it's why they find themselves at 2-4 scoreline.
Your tweet talked about it, was it not yours, that said that, you know, these maps are so defined by lurkers and flankers? Was that you on social media?
It wasn't, but I'll take full credit. That was certainly not my tweet.
Okay, what was your tweet now?
Okay, I said that.
There you go, thank you. That's great insight. But I think it's correct. How many times on defense? Most of these maps, by the way, defender-sided.
Yeah, might be every single one, actually.
As of the stats that we have today, every single map that has been played so far is a positive round differential for the defenders. So yes,
Every single map.
There really is an incredible statistic. Usually, back in the day, you'd have 1 or 2 maps that would skew in that direction. Maybe Border, Coastline tend to be there for a long period of time. Chalet was there as well.
Oh, certainly. Things change. Asami and Solus, 2 operators in defense that change things around a lot.
That's exactly it. 2 incredibly strong defenders. Grim on attack and Sens on attack, not having the impact that they want. Can't say the same about Kanto on Repel. Forrest decides to ego peek the window and square and loses his head.
You can see Kanto, the second he got that opening kill, he just peels off, right? Koi saying, keep the man advantage, do not seek these engagements that are risky. Sport has a drone way ahead of him, not taking any chances there either. He's gonna force Astralis to go aggressive to try and get that kill themselves or fall back towards the bomb sites. In both of those scenarios, Koi come out the winner. They get either the map control or they get a 2 versus 1 to further build their lead, and you can see the outcome. Astralis, they've surrendered the entire roam off that initial death, and that's smoke. It's the biggest operator you could have killed from the side of Koi.
It was a really perplexing decision by Forrest because it didn't look like he was just scouting for information. It looked like he wanted to engage. And I mean, if Astralis are feeling confident, that confidence becomes hubris very, very quickly. I think it did for Forrest. It's a hard lesson to learn. And yeah, No gas canisters remaining for the final 90 seconds.
Yep.
Good news is they got a bomb site that allows you to turtle all you want, so Astralis can sit pretty.
The next step, of course, is going to be either you clear the server stairs, that's Spiff sitting here, shield any ADSs, and then you go for a server attack. And it looks like Koi, they will challenge. 3 members there, hatch can open up. It's Shuttle and Spiff in a 2 versus 3 on this server position. Big C4.
Nicely tossed onto Deepak. Grenades will come in. Spiff's gotten away. The shield is still up until it isn't. They don't have information. Spiff has been good with his shots, but can he do it here? Yes, he smokes Spoits. Does a lot of damage to Leon, but not enough in the follow-up. 3v3, HP favoring Astralis. Clock at the moment, not really helping either team.
Yeah, but this is gonna, again, you can see it on Leon Git's positioning. He doesn't know where to attack from. He has 1 HP, diffuse on hand, but you can't go for server now. You can't challenge, so backside hatch drop instead. Take those 2v3s and no shuttle stock inside of servers.
There's still 1 Nitro Cell on the board. Even a tiny bit of that explosive will kill Leon Gids if he goes for the diffuser plant. Heading down the stairs, J90 losing the engagement. Koi have control. Looking for somebody on the flank. Doesn't get it. Iconic dispatch. Shuttle will need to clutch. But he's getting watched from multiple angles and he can't do a damn thing. Koi, a strong start to their attack. They're keeping this matchup close, even if Astralis does continue on with the lead.
Leon Gitz really is great. In that round, gets the initial trade on server stairs, runs into bomb site with literally 10 HP left, gets 2 kills. Spiff, disgusting pre-fire, but this right here. Oh. And then Leon trades it right back.
That was, you could thank the Type A, the Bearing 9 rather's recoil for that one, as it just flicked all over the screen. Landed on the head, tough spot for Shuttle to be in.
Huge round for Koi. Around that didn't look like they was going to favor them in that 3 versus 3 due to Leon being so low and then not having server control, but the teamwork.
It makes the dream work.
It makes the dream work, and both of these 2 teams, Astralis and Koi, they thrive off playing together every single match. And it's why these opening kills are so important, because if you can get an uncontested opening kill, play that 5 versus 4, that can get you so far in these rounds. And speaking of far...
Well, hold on. Look at this lineup.
I was going to say fast.
A Blitz and a Sens.
Yep.
Now, you don't exactly have the tools to slow down this rush. There's no Capkin, there's no Legion, but you've still got those Azami Kiba barriers that you can throw out. Frost mats will, I suppose, be the biggest thing in your arsenal.
We saw Koi attempt this. I think it was back in groups, and unfortunately, Leon died immediately, so Sense couldn't be utilized for the execute. But the general concept is get that bottom heaven control, bottom skylight, and go through that double door, throw out your Sense wall, and you can like safely get escorted with Diffuser and Blitz and try and get that plant down. Koi are gonna start their step number 1, take top square control. That's what Kenzo's doing right now with the support of Sport on the window rappel. And they're just gonna take every precaution that they need right now, because if they can get to the bomb site, it should be around for them, and they're gonna start it right now.
Here it goes, that wall will go out, but there's Shuttle prepared and ready. The Warden countering it perfectly, 12 kills for Shuttle. He's heard the haters talking, and he's here to prove them wrong. Still have 1 gadget left in Senz's pocket, but that entire strategy, you said Leon Gitz died first last time. Well, Deepak walks in. He gets punished. Now Koi have to go back to the drawing board.
The only way this round is easily winnable by Koi is if they kill Shuttle on the ward, and then they can still get the plant down, but Astralis, they recognize they've won the strategical elements now. They're playing far back on site, not giving those kills away.
Us. You saw it in the BDS match, you saw it in the Lost 1 match. Astralis, so patient. On attack, formidable. They can get in very quickly. Down goes J90. That was a joint effort. Cryan thought he had one from above as well to help out. Forrest will retake from above. Spiff does, but there's a set of eyes from Koi. It's Kanto far enough back inside of square. He's got that line of sight all the way over towards Conference, and I think it's enough to spook Forrest away from doing that.
Yeah, you need your members alive now. A 3v4 is very winnable, a 2v4 is very tough. There are so many entry points on this bomb site. Koi have a decision to make. Do they take full top floor control? They can start using those hatches, the verticality. They got 40 seconds. The bomb site itself is rather weak. Only shuttle inside the site itself, but Iconic on server stairs and Force hiding in that main stairs elevator could be a quick one for Koi.
Changing mags.
Still that one last gadget remaining for Leon Gids. 30 seconds, you gotta go quickly. Ooh. Iconic might know. No, he doesn't. Trying to give him some information. Leon gets in. That's Diffuser down, surrendered in the bomb site. But they will gang up on Iconic, who far enough away is good enough. No! Many! Past the point now where the Diffuser needs to be picked up from Cryan. They'll go for the plant. All he needs to do is wait out time, and here comes the run for Iconic. Cryan almost finished! What the hell was that from Iconic? A monstrous round from Astralis.
That's what he does. At the Charlotte Major, now at the 6 Invitationals, he shows up when it matters the most and the crowd is there to witness it. A 1 versus 4 clutch in the round. It should have never been going to Astralis, but they still win it.
I mean, they peaked one by one by one. Watch this. Thing of beauty. Nice pick by Cryan, but this one is just...
Oh, it's a frustration.
The beauty of the UMP with its low rate of fire, but low recoil as well. Ever so consistent. Timeout already burned by Koi, so if things go bad, they have no way out of this matchup.
You saw it on Cryan's face. He realized that they'd done goofed when the 2 members died, and all of a sudden, what looked like an impossible round for Koi to lose became very losable, and I feel bad when it comes down to the 1 versus 1, and all you can do is stick the plant with 0 seconds left and hope that somehow Iconic either runs into your grenade on server stairs or just forgets to push the bomb side, and then maybe you can get that diffuser down and take your 1 versus 1 gunfight, but it doesn't go there. You're still planting with 2 seconds left, and you get shot from behind, and you lose the round 3-5 in favor of Astralis. They're going to towers.
I was gonna say, the lowest picked site on this map.
Yep.
And the only bomb site on this entire map that has a bad win-loss differential for the defenders. And look at that. Cryan's gonna exploit it. He's already in the middle of the site. The Nook gadget goes, invisible to all cameras except for set of eyes.
Yep. He might only have gotten 1 kill, but the amount of pressure he's applying onto Iconic and the rest of Astralis right now, they need to get back to the bomb side to now force him to stop making too much movement across the map.
Still drone work outside. Iconic might be able to catch one of them.
They've missed him. There's no drones here.
And there might be another drop on down. There you go. Leon Gids will
he doesn't
run in.
know.
He has no idea. How do you miss that, Iconic? Good Lord. Everything that went well in the last round completely undone by that.
Count your blessings, Leon.
Do they have information on him? There's a trade. Iconic from the same position. He lets the Nook walk on by. Iconic could very easily peek here. Cryan's making a ton of noise. Iconic's a bit too slow on this.
He's waiting
Again,
for
no
Leon.
drones, but look at all the time that's bleeding through. This game of cat and mouse that they are currently playing. The bomb site has been under control of Koi for a minute solid.
It has, and now Leon's there with the diffuser. They can stop planting. They have repel control up above.
And they're doing it. Leon Gids is in. There's Iconic on to Spoit. Leon Gids successful in getting the diffuser down. Post plant. They know exactly where Iconic is. Cannot outdo a Leon Gids. Double duty. Objective play and the killing for his team. Trying to prevent Astralis from moving to map point, but Astralis will clobber the play. They're in damning position by that door. The soft destruction above will keep them busy. J90, the thought of long arming, but you need Spiff to act. T-Pex stops him in his tracks. Spiff goes down to Leon Gids, and Koi in the post plant as good as ever.
Koi playing a really good round of Rainbow Six Siege, having the sledge up above for the post plant. Leon keeps playing far back, staying alive, and Cryan having bomb site control, as you said, Parker, for over 50 seconds straight, and then just playing around it. Nice jump out from Forest, trying to get something, going, but it's a trade at best. I am curious what would happen if Leon Gids was found by Iconic earlier.
If Iconic doesn't miss that easy kill onto the electrical door, this whole round might have fallen apart for Koi. because that allows Iconic to still play that pivotal position at the top of server stairs on blue. You lose your diffuser. Somebody needs to move out of their position, likely Cryan is sitting in the bomb site. So now he needs to go pick up the diffuser. But Iconic would have control of that part of the map. It completely changes the way that Koi go about it. And now Deepak, who's sitting upstairs on Sledge, well, he might not be in a position to hold that reliably.
Everything works together like a game of dominoes. And when one small thing goes the wrong way, big mistakes can follow along shortly after. Most of these rounds, for most teams, they have predefined places that they gotta go, and if not, they communicate them in the drone phase or in the early stage of the action phase. And if one member doesn't do their job, well, someone else will have to be punished for it.
Crowd buff coming into play. Koi changing things up on these attacks, locking in the Amaru this time.
Spicy!
They made a gamble on the Blitz and the Sens, but did not pay off. Astralis using Warden, whose prevalence has been very high so far. It's a great question that was actually asked on the subreddit about why is Warden played so frequently, and it's because, again, Warden is being brought in anticipation of this attacking lineup having a Ying, having Smokes, a Capitao, all operators whose pick rates have been higher than usual. You need the Warden to fend that off because, yeah, bulletproof camera's good and Evil Eyes are good, but sometimes a Maestro's not going to get it done. Sometimes you need more than just that, and the Warden is good in a pinch.
Yeah, the Warden, you have a gun up as well, instead of being stuck in a drone. Goyo, same story. A lot of rushes happening, aggressive play. Goyo fire stalls for 20 seconds. Another note for that is that a lot of these rounds on the attacking side are relatively slow. You get to the bomb side with 40, 30, 20 seconds left, and that's where that Goyo fire, again, it can pay off and win you literal rounds.
Now, the last time we got a look at this bomb site, it was when Forrest decided to ego peek the top of server stairs.
Yep.
Not gonna make that same mistake again. He's got a mute jammer, 2 ADSs, a deployable shield, and out will go one of those 3 gas canisters. Biding as much time as possible.
Yeah. Combine that with the Goyo, and all of a sudden, Koi gotta rush the side with 10 seconds left on Forrest. If he can get a kill here, that'd be massive for him.
It's been a slow game from Spiff. It doesn't get any better. He's the first one to die in this round. Astralis will battle from behind. Spiff knew he was in a rough spot. All of that gadgetry that was up for Astralis at the top of server stairs is now gone. Forrest could be the next one to die. Spoit is down. There's the gas doing its job. Kanto has found an opening, and Koi will wipe the floor with Astralis in the ensuing fight.
Yep. Eyes on the Goyo fire now. Bombs have all getting opened on up. I think they've already been popped, so Koi might be okay. In a 3v2, 1 can plant, 2 can cover. It's Astralis to challenge this bomb side plant.
The only denial that we see at the moment is the Nitro Cell of Iconic, but
it's ripped.
It's ripped and ready to go. Here comes the dance, 10 seconds left. Leon Gids now taking damage from J90, but there's the hatch control. Iconic doing it again. How does he pull this off? The king is back. A 3K to propel Astralis to map point.
That's not supposed to happen. You got the hatch control, the flank from Garage. The C4 missing, not doing any damage to the planter. But as long as Iconic is there, Astralis always have a way to win these rounds. The frustration from Koi, it has to be building up. The Toxic Babe kill from the Injures. It's a great trade again from Koi, but in the late stage, they cannot get the job done. Look at this. Anticipates the hatch, recognizes he's not there, and then gets the flick and the kill. You see it. Pure frustration. They thought they had the round, Koi that is. Oh boy, and now it's match point.
Astralis. Teller's Archives.
Again. Yeah, why not? I mean, it was small things not working in the previous round, right? Because they lost the opening kill very early on. Then Iconic had that hiccup, and they lost bomb site control. If Cryan doesn't just walk into side, that entire round plays out differently. So Astralis, that's the main priority. Do not let the pass repeat itself. Hold this top floor and force Koi to deal with it this time.
This is such a gamble, but this is also exactly what Astralis does.
Yeah.
They do the silliest things, and then they make it work.
One big thing for high-pressure games that I can speak from experience is basically risk assessment, right? Making decisions from home when you're comfortable in a game is relatively easy. Making high-risk decisions and doing so with confidence at a major event on a big stage with a big crowd, all of a sudden those lines can be blurred. Going tailors twice seems like, oh, it's not a big deal, but honestly, it really is. Statistically and strategically, this is a really, really quote-unquote bad decision to do on paper, but it might just win in this entire map.
I mean, there was one missed opportunity from Iconic from changing the entire result of this bomb site last time around. What can they accomplish? What's the change in this setup? Iconic and Shuttle combining for 23 kills so far. That is outlandish. And they're doing it while the superstar for Astralis through the groups of Spiff is having probably his worst series up to this point.
I think that's fair to say.
First time Spiff is playing on stage in front of a crowd. I have to imagine there's some jitters there. No, Kanto Raketti walks right in. No jitters for the Finn. He wants more than just a single pick upstairs in CEO. They know he's there. Astralis not paying him any attention. They're distracted by the advance over by Square. Spiff will test his mettle in that engagement. Spoit has enough time to walk up. Cryan walks in, down goes Forrest. Astralis losing out on their 2 offsite players. Spiff has managed to get away.
Not just 2 of their offside players, they lost the point of the map that they care about the most. Having top floor control gives you bomb site control. Because Koi they roam clear successfully, they will now get bomb site pressure by destroying the floor above, applying that vertical pressure.
That's exactly where DPEG is going to go. Kanto can stay up there as well. You keep an Ash up there, you keep a Sledge up there, you are going to lose out on so much of that protection on the bomb site. And you can't retake if you're Astralis. You are in a 3v5. Unless some kind of magic happens, this round is effectively over. Iconic has had his share of heroics before. He'll attempt for a retake, but this is a daunting task. A flawless round by Koi. They made that one quick. We said on paper it looked like a bad idea. Well, in the server it looked like a bad idea as well. All 12 rounds needed. Astralis still have their timeout. They can still slow things down if they want.
Yeah.
And they're going to take their timeout, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, this is you can call it a gamble if you will. Now you're giving Koi a chance to talk to their coach and calm things down themselves. But if you're Astralis, you're on match point. You want this final round to go your favor, take it 7-5 and go next. So you're gambling everything on this, and worst case, you got a best of 3 in terms of round count in that overtime scenario. And I think the big thing for Astralis is to discuss which bomb site to go to and which particular strat to apply, because you got 4 options on Bank. It's not easy to choose between them. Now, note, basement is locked, but the other 3 bomb site of Taylor, CEO, and open area, they're all open for Astralis.
Imagine before this map was picked, there's a good idea of where they were going to go. Astralis would have been watching.
They're going to go back to Taylor's again? It looks like it.
Sure does. Why?
I mean, there's going to be a strategic change in operators.
Astralis has only gone to open area one time. It was that Sen's Blitz Rush that came in from Koi that was answered by Iconic's incredible clutch. It wasn't exactly a great team performance. It was a great individual performance. So I can understand your reluctance to go back to the bomb site. Damn. That was only won because of a hero play. But again, you have to wonder what's going through their heads.
That's exactly what I'm wondering. I'm trying to pick it apart. I mean, operators are different. Ella obviously being the most notable one to look at. Asami from Iconic instead of Oryx. But the rest, it's relatively the same. Shuttle on the Kaid can maybe make a big impact with the Kite Claws from below, because there's going to be no EMPs from Koi unless they read this with the attack or repick. But strategically, this plays out similarly. It's Astralis trying to hold top floor control, and if they lose top floor, they lose bomb site. So it's do or die upstairs, and Koi, they know this.
Matchup is not on the line for them, because no matter what happens in this round, either Astralis goes out a winner or they continue playing, because they have overtime on their side. For Koi, this is where the stakes lay. I was saying before the timeout was called, and before we mentioned this Teller's Archives bomb site, that Elevate against Koi were able to push this Koi team to the brink on bank at 8-7 that Koi ended up walking out of after quite a scare. I imagine Astralis have watched a lot of that footage, and well, after that, there's a 7-2 over SSG on bank, and that was the last time we saw it from Koi. Already, Astralis seems to be doing better than most of the times that they've played on this map. That's a confidence boost, but this team doesn't want to get close. They want it all.
Oh, Forest.
What is, this is not good.
Get out of there.
Run, Forest, run.
Kryno gonna flank the main stairs.
And he gets spotted by Iconic down below in the bomb site. They didn't expect that opening, but teams love to open that part of the wall up and play on the stairs. They've just reversed it. Astralis is just playing from the bomb chassis, looking in that direction. Now Spoit has one in his sights. J9O's fallen off of an engagement, doesn't want to contest too early. Waste as much time as possible. This round, Nick, has flown by. We're at the halfway point already.
Yeah, it's worth noting that normally defenders can just fall back towards the bomb site when things get rough.
There's a nade tossed in. J9O is no more. He didn't want to engage in the gunfight. Spoit says, that's fine, I've got something else up my sleeve.
But Astralis can't fall back. They care too much about the top floor for a good reason, because they need some control upstairs. It's why both Spiff and Forrest are holding on strong, even though J9O fell just 20 seconds ago.
Spiff versus Spoit.
The youngsters.
Who's got the better aim? So far in this map, it's been Spoit, and they will want to engage. Spiff might not have picked the right opportunity to do that. An inexperienced player is going to make those mistakes. Forrest looks like he's gone undroned. Proximity alarm goes off. The dynamic duo of Iconic and Shuttle. They've been phenomenal so far. They're both still upright. Forrest will be the difference maker. Advantage for Koi in the final 30 seconds, and Forrest will drop away. But Koi can very easily collapse on this. They've got two players inside of the lobby, but none are watching. And like that, Forrest gets one pick. Another could be there as well. He'll keep their focus for the 20 seconds, playing shrewdly around the wall, losing out to Leon Gids. A pivot has to happen from Koi with 15 seconds, or that's the map, leaving Iconic and Shuttle to deal with this advance. Diffuser in the hands of Leon Gids. Shuttle playing this small angle. He needs to pop up. Iconic softened up. Shuttle will need to clutch. He's flattened two of them, and he gets all of them. Holy shit! How does Shuttle do that? Astralis in stunning fashion take map one.
I think it's your fault, Parker. During the group stage, you're going in on Shuttle, and that he was not there in the server ever. He really showed up on map number 15 kills. He ends the round from a match point 1v3. On Astralis' clutch factor, it's too much for Koi.
How many rounds have they won at a disadvantage?
I need two hands for that to count.
What a first map by Astralis. Absolutely stunning performance. The one man in the crosshairs of social media, and no shortage of hate, I'm sure, thrown his way for being at one point the lowest rated player in this entire event.
Yeah.
You don't make it this far if you're Astralis with Shuttle. That's just map one. We've got at least one more to go. We'll toss to a quick break, and then we'll come back with more Astralis versus Koi.
I'm Nicholas Morton, but you know me as Pingu. I'm a two-time Rainbow Six Siege World Champion and former top Rainbow Six Siege player in Pro League. Welcome to my Siege Ranked Bootcamp. We're talking 20 seconds left on the clock, you got the diffuser in hand, what do you do? Play the way that you're comfortable with, because you have confidence when you're in this position, that is when you're gonna be at your very best. Good luck.
Welcome back, friends, to the command center, the analyst desk at Place Belle. And I don't want to quote Intero, but y'all heard what he said. And I think that really puts it together in this game. Astralis victorious on map 1. And North American team is one step further to making it to a game against G2 Esports. Welcome back. I'm El Stamatic, your host. With me on the analyst desk are Jesse and Fresh, who are currently dumbfounded. I think flabbergasted. What are other words that we can fit in here?
There's not many that I can say.
Stunned.
Stunned. Look like at some point Koi were.
Speechless.
Look, the two of you, if I am not mistaken, predicted Koi to win. Now, hey, there's people around here. Do you remember when Jesse predicted Koi to win the first map?
I don't know. I don't know if I did. We'll have to check the tapes. It's not really important right now.
Sure, whatever, man. Copium, he's still huffing. But by all means, there's no way this should have been an Astralis win.
Do you know what did happen? Koi did win strategically. They did win most round, but Iconic showed up with 2 1v3s and shows up with a 1v3.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane, the stat board right here. At one point in that cast, I believe right at the end, Parker said that, quote, at one point, Shuttle was the lowest player at this event. No, Parker, an hour ago, he was the lowest rated player at this event. Coming into this game, he was rated 100th out of 100 players, and he drops 15 and 7.
Do you know what it is?
What is it?
He was watching Pengu's boot camp. 4 seconds left. TCSG in hand, what do? You swing them all and kill them all.
It's a big win here for Astralis against Koi, but that is only map 1 in the series. We saw Bank, and our immediate reaction was, yeah, no matter how you cut it, this is gonna be a tight map 1. So let's revisit it. Tactically, as you're saying, Jack, Koi were winning rounds, but where was the point where things fell apart for Astralis to recover?
I actually think Astralis won the first half. I think Astralis on the attack played really well. I think they looked at how W7M dismantled Koi by bringing that pace, by bringing a little bit of risk on the attack as well, by just forcing their way in. And Koi got caught unaware. I don't know what was going on with Deepak. You know, he plays the Echo, he's the big information source for Koi, but there was so many gunfights that Koi were just not aware of. Once they got onto the attack though, they played it really well. Until literally about 10 seconds left in the round. They were full clearing, they were bringing pace themselves, they were winning the gunfights, executing as they should have been, and then just 1 or 2 moments have happened that swung the round the other way.
Yeah, I felt like the entry pick was always going the way of Astralis in that first half, as you were mentioning, right? It really did feel like Forrest and Iconic were doing a great job finding the opening picks on those top floors. Didn't feel like Spoit and Crine were able to work together to stop that from happening. But yeah, that second half, it looks really strong from Koi throughout the majority of the round, time after time. But it's always Astralis who finish first.
I want to ask you about that 0 ban, because we know that Koi loved to use information that would swap it out for other ops, but was this a good target for Astralis?
I think personally I would be looking to ban Deepak, because I think what teams have started to realize is that he is the livelihood of this team. He brings the information to that trident, to that triangle that we talk about. The 0 ban is a part of that, the Valkyrie ban is completely a part of that, and it's focused towards him. Obviously it opened up opportunities for the Nook, and you know that's coming. We saw a lot of, I forgot the name, we saw a lot of wee-woo alarms. Proximity alarms, that's
wee-woo alarms.
We saw a lot of wee-woos going on. And I think there's only one ban. You either get rid of the information that benefits the whole team, or you get rid of the Nook that benefits one player.
So if we were to look back at some specific moments in rounds, Jesse, do you think we can find anything worthwhile?
Well, I mean, there's gotta be a couple rounds from Astralis, right? Let's take a look at one of these clutches coming on. Of course, this was a big one. This was Iconic down in the basement, right? You should be able to remember this. It was a pretty incredible round. We'll skip to about halfway through just so we can kind of set the stage, right? Because right here, it's looking pretty good for Koi, okay? You know, there's Shuttle in here. He's going to die pretty quick. There's Forrest over here. He's going to die as well to somebody dropping the elevator hatch and taking him down, right? They've actually got a pretty good setup going. They're about to plant the kit. You can see Leon there on the right. And then we play it for just a moment. And at this point, the round is over. It's a 1v3 for Astralis, but it's Iconic in the most perfect position. And I want to make it really clear here that I don't think there's anything Koi could have done. There's 15 seconds on the clock, but the defuse kit is down in maybe the worst possible position it could have. The biggest mistake Koi made this round was letting Iconic sit here and having absolutely no idea what he was going to do there. It's a big problem with information. It's a problem with communication, perhaps. You've got to be able to keep track of Iconic, because this play, it's perfect from Iconic, right? I'm not trying to downplay it. He kills Kanto on the first swing. Boom. He kills Spoit on the second. Boom. They have to swing that because they need the defuse kit, right? Then he backs off, avoids the nade. Iconic plays it perfectly, right? But that's what he's going to do. And if you're Koi, the way to beat that is not to somehow win this massive disadvantage swing against Iconic. It's to not be in that position in the first place. So this is what Astralis are doing in order to win these clutches. This is what's consistently making them find success in this area, right? And so I really want to see these teams trying to address this clutch problem in the early round so that something like that can't happen to begin with.
There you go. You set yourself up for success, Jack.
It's basics. It's basics. Everybody knows if you are going to plant in that plant spot, which is what Koi tried to do twice, you make sure you have information on blue stairs, and you make sure that if you do know he's there, which obviously Koi didn't, you go and plant somewhere else, you push deep, or you create another plan.
Well, as you see here, our players are back in their spaces, so we're only a few minutes away from going into map 2. So have a chat about that. But first, can we bring them up, the maps on the screen? Thank you very much. Oregon is our second map in this series. Astralis have picked, and they start on the attack. Koi going for the defense. Jesse?
Listen, this is a good map for Astralis. 10-2 overall record for the year on Oregon for AST. A 3-game win streak. All 3 of those wins coming at the Invitational. They beat BDS, Sonics, and Los 1 on Oregon. I mean, Koi will do their best not to be the fourth in that streak, but I don't know if they've got it in them.
Yeah, if you look at preferences, it's their second preference. I'm loving these signs. I'm loving these flags. If you look at the preferences, the second preference map is the highest percentage win rate on round percentage win rate for Astralis. I would be worried. I said that I thought this best of 3 hindered on Bank. Bank has been lost by Koi. I think they needed to win it to win this best of 3.
Yeah.
All right, now it's the question. Do we go to a map 3 or not? That would be border. But look, hey, we're going to ask the people around here because I heard that there's a lot of Astralis fans, but there's also people that want to see a map 3. So do you guys want to see border? Yes, no? That sounds like a mixed bag here. Are there any Astralis fans? Any Koi fans in here? You know what? I think that's pretty equal. So we're going to leave it to the cast to decide how it all goes. Pengu and Taro, take it away.
Oh, thank you very much. What a first map that was. And people like to ask us, who are we cheering for? And the answer is we always cheer for the best game possible.
Yeah.
Which means that we want all 3 maps. I know, boo, boo. But boy, oh boy, if the next map is anything like Bank, then I do want all 3 of those maps. Because that is one of the finest 12-round maps I've ever seen.
I would actually see Koi possibly clutch round as well. It was all Astralis when it came to clutches, and that's the story for the entire tournament. They're leading. Before this map, that 21 clutch at this tournament, that's unheard of. 21 individual rounds won in a 1vx scenario. It doesn't happen.
Usually that's so unsustainable. We talked about it during the first map as well. You winning a round off of a crazy 1v3, 1v4 usually doesn't happen because you're better. It's often a combination of you being a bit better, but your opponents simply not playing it well.
You're correct. There has to be a gap somewhere to be exploited. Of course, Arbor the Bands, we gotta do it every single time because that's how the cookie crumbles. First Arbor to fall is Dokkaebi. Business as usual. Ying being target banned by Astralis to impact Koi's ability to execute on that basement bomb site in particular. That's the big focus point because defenders should be winning the vast majority of the basement bomb sites, and with Ying off the board, it is so much more difficult to attack on that basement bomb site itself.
Oh, absolutely. Every single time we come to Oregon, we are contractually obligated to talk about Ying's obvious benefits and some of the less obvious benefits on this map. Number 1, the biggest thing about Ying is those Candelas. They're her gadget. They're great at blinding people, and usually the defenders will bring a Warden on most of the bomb sites, depending on the way the teams like to play it.
Yeah.
Getting Ying off the board means that you don't have to worry about the same level of flashbangs coming in. You still got operators that'll bring the flashbangs as their secondary gadget, but then we talk about Ying's secondary gadget, which is that hard breach gadget. If Kaid is banned, then Ying can open up 2 of the hatches when attacking downstairs.
Yeah.
Ying can open up a small portion of the attic wall upstairs if there's no bandit being brought. Because you're not gonna, you might bring a mute up there, but we don't see a lot of teams doing that as often anymore. So,
no.
And then on top of that, Ying just has a great gun, the suppressor on it with lots of bullets. She's a strong operator that impacts every single bomb site on this map disproportionately compared to the rest of the attackers. She's a solid ban, and it's not a surprise to see her gone.
The only big surprise in this Arbor band is that, again, Astralis, they're perfectly happy with letting Nuke go through, and that's one thing that most teams don't allow against Koi, because Cryan, arguably one of the best Nuke players in the entire world of Rainbow Six Siege, it's usually the target ban for the opposition. But Astralis, they're happy with it. And Koi, they did find 1 round of success on that Taylor's attack the first time around when Cryan got into the bomb site successfully. But after that, Astralis, they're on the watch, holding every staircase and entry point for basement, not allowing Cryan any space on the map. Now, Bank's a big map. It's oriented around the opening kills. Oregon, much more execution heavy.
Wait, how?
Shuttle's injured.
Is that a spawn peek from Leon?
Yeah, Master Door. Does he have impacts? He has 1 in pocket, doesn't toss it out.
Shuttle's bleeding out very quickly. I'd imagine he's trying to get to safety. Whether he's retrievable or not is anybody's guess.
Doesn't have long left.
He'll only be back with a tiny bit of HP. Yeah, this clock on Shuttle is just running out so fast.
Jano's trying, he's coming for it.
He's not gonna make it.
Oh,
No way!
he gets the save.
Holy smokes. Now it's Iconic taking a lot of damage.
He has 1 HP left.
Koi are wasting no time trying to stop this Astralis advance. Given what happened in round number 1 of Bank, saw how quickly Astralis get into the building, and now there's a down of their own. Forest wants to secure.
Oh.
There it is, the old Assassin's Creed.
What?
And another as he cuts the head off a Spoit.
Nah. They keep
Wow.
going as well. I mean, that's worth it if you're Forest. You get 2 for the price of 1. Jaggel's dead, but you've done the duty of the roam clear. You don't need the Jaggle anymore. Now you're in a 2v4 because of it. Astralis not wasting any seconds when it comes to decision making.
And Gids did a lot of damage to begin with. There's only a single point of HP on Iconic. It's now gone. Leon Gids could have another over towards Freezer, but Spiff, the spaceman himself, out of this world. Deepek in that same spot. Nice kill with the Supernova. Do not engage him at close range. J90 gets it done.
The read, he goes to the flashbang expecting the swing because of it, because Deepek has no other option than to get blind to the corner or swing out on the offense. He prones on the floor with a pistol in hand and gets the round. It's another 1vx for Astralis. Beautiful opening. And sure, the card they traded back, but they lost so much from Forest's play.
Really well played by Leon Gids, especially at the start of the round. Had some difficulties over by Freezer.
He's 1 HP as well. Oh,
Yeah, that's,
yeah,
he's saying what we're all thinking.
yeah. Shotgun close quarter, you gotta win those.
And Deepek absolutely adores the Supernova Echo. It is not unusual to see him on that operator with that loadout.
It's also just not usual to see Koi lose these kinds of rounds in the 1v1s. I mean, if you were to look at Koi and Astralis from Europe and North America, it's like they are very similar teams. They have great individual skill, great clutching capabilities, and they play a very team synergy-oriented style of Rainbow Six Siege. But when they're matched up against each other, it just looks like Astralis comes out ahead in almost every single aspect right now, at least in map number 1 and their first round of Oregon. It's unlike Koi to look like this against any other opponent.
See a lot of this Flores in this bomb site. An undefended deployable shield now taken care of by Elbow. Koi, just as in that first round, very dedicated to holding off the site. There's a methodology to this laundry supply room site down below. Whether you want to turtle up, same with the bank basement.
Yeah.
You can turtle up down there. You can invest in a heavy roam. The crowd liked that one, but there's nobody up there for him to fight.
Oh,
Oh, well, that could have been real bad.
that could have been an injure. Just lose a bit of HP, not a huge loss. Roam clear, of course, in the...
Wow.
Okay.
The cojones on Spoit and no trade potential for Astralis. They let Spoit get away. Do you know why Spoit gets away, Nick?
Because he's the fastest operator in the game.
As he's the fastest operator in the game. Leon Gids gets taken down, and now Iconic over towards Freezer will run into Spoit. Koi really getting their licks in on Astralis as Deepek gets revenge against J90. With half the round to go, Forest is the last one up for Astralis.
I honestly really like the play from Astralis, right? Koi is on the offense, far off the bomb side, so 3 members that are nearby the site itself, they just hit it. Basement stairs, meeting hash drop, etc. And they try and fight it out on the bomb side, but the other 3 members of Koi, they are there to shut it down. Deepex, Yokai, drones as well, granting that information for Koi. They can make that decision knowing what's about to happen. And I mean, even if they got bomb site control, the diffuser, it's outside the building where Spoit got the initial kill early in the round.
It's gonna be a long minute for Forest, or Koi can make it not a long minute for Forest. It really depends. Do you decide to ego challenge in a 1v4?
They're allowed 1 fight.
I mean, yeah, and it's relatively routine for Koi here. Astralis had no chance of coming back whatsoever on that round. Forest wanders into his demise. Though I will say this, if I'm Koi and I see Forest in a 1v4, I'm still shaking from that bank.
I mean, that's fair. I do believe that a couple of teams here at the Six Invitationals, they have this rule, quote-unquote rule, if you're in a 1v4, you're allowed one person to throw the round. Just one. Because a 1v4 to 1v3, it's still like a significantly favorable position, whereas going from a 1v3 into 1v2 becomes much more difficult. You can only set up one singular crossfire instead of two. So if any team knows to throw bodies in these 1vx's, I know Koi scrims from talking to Leon Kiss and seeing his tweets, they often find themselves throwing some of those man advantages. Leon's always like, don't peek, please, hide in corners. And then Spoit's like, I need that montage clip, goes for it anyway.
I mean, you've got two players on Koi who in the past have struggled. Not so much the past for Spoit, but for Leon Gids definitely, and if you're Koi, hopefully in the past. I've had issues with just getting a little too cutesy.
Yeah.
With taking challenges that don't need to happen. I mean, it's happened at this event with Leon Gids. You and I even casted the match where we're like, this is like Team Secret Leon Gids, who decides to take every engagement on very valuable utility roles and loses those fights. His team's in a perpetual 4v5. Mind you, that was when Leon Gids was much younger, far less experienced.
He certainly changed as a player in a positive way. I mean, the leadership from Leon, from being the young gunner to being the, not old, Cryan is way older, but being the leader on his team for these big players like Kento, like Spoit, like Deeping and Cryan himself. It's a huge role to fill.
Up to the second bomb site we go. J9O's got a target acquired. Kanto, though, on the roam is Solus. He pays goodbye to Spiff, still on stage. Literally and also in the server. Forrest is there to flush out Leon Gids right into his waiting arms. But he doesn't expect Cryan. Look at Koi, they're all over the map.
Yeah, they're sprinting around, and it looks like the game plan is to not let them execute. Just fight them every single place that we get the opportunity, because if Astralis hits the bomb site, we lose the round.
Speaking of the bomb site, where is Shuttle? He's in the bomb site. So is Deepek, though. Koi winning their engagements. Deepek puzzlingly looking away, but they hit all their shots. Koi takes the lead on Oregon. It's Koi's very first lead of this series.
I was gonna say, yep, that very much is the case for them. I'm curious if Astralis is gonna change their attack and rounds to be more direct. Hit the side itself, not deal with the roam clear.
Tertiary bomb site coming in. You've got two of them to pick from. Do you go to meeting and kitchen, or do you go to kitchen and dining hall? Historically, it's meeting that is seen as the favored bomb site. In terms of overall win rate, Oregon, extremely lopsided towards the defense. Expect Koi to win 4 of the 6 rounds if those numbers hold. So far, they're halfway there. Laundry Supply Room has been competing with the couple bomb sites as the most defender favored in the entire. Is there something? What are you laughing at?
No, there's nothing. There's not broken. There's just Peter on our left with a little gesture. It's a wave now. Okay, hi Peter. That's all. Sorry, distracted.
There was a period of time where Laundry Supply Room was the second most defender-sided bomb site after Armory and Throne on Theme Park, sitting at 70%. I'm gonna have to guess that it's a pretty favorable site. But then when you go to Meeting Hall and Kitchen, it's actually underwater for the defenders. 42% of the 26 rounds won by the defense. So the attackers have a good shout here. If you're Astralis and you want to stop that 4-2 happening, Astralis already won the Laundry Supply attack in round number 1.
Yeah.
A victory here in Meeting sets them up really nicely to go 3-3 through this first half.
Oh, I absolutely agree. And Astralis, they are one of the best teams in the world at attacking that Oregon basement. Same with Theme Park. They're so good at capitalizing together as a team on those small gaps that they can find. But again, the shutdown has been there from Card, but this time it's on Shuttle's duty to shut that back down.
The Alibi will be able to get around the map and relatively quickly. Good gun in hand. Cryan was roaming on it before the operator, now traded off to Spoit.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Spiff is gonna find one and he sees it, but it's a shotgun at close range. He does a lot of damage to Kanto. Kanto's gonna bide his time, let them get a little bit closer. That's that SAS shotgun. You have to believe in it. The more you believe in it, the better damage it does. There's another for Koi. Astralis struggling after getting that very first pick. Koi are so fluid on this roam. Shuttle will equalize. He's starting to come online for Astralis. Diffuser in the hands of Forrest. It's going down. J9O sitting over top of him. Koi sequestered in main lobby and over towards meeting.
No one's above.
The timer will run. How crucial is that top floor? And there's nobody from the defense up there. Nitro Cell goes out. On the door, Forrest shrugging off a lot of damage. J9O can be tagged on in. Do not lose sight of that diffuser. It's a 3v3. There's Shuttle to play from above. Kanto's retaken it. Diffuser at the halfway point. Deepek cannot do anything against J9O. Cryan is gassed to distract it. Now he's behind the Kiva barrier. They have to rush in to pressure him. Staying on it. But J9O gets in for the save, and we got a tie game again.
Koi playing it well, recognizing that top floor is step number one because they gotta shut down that retake from up above. They get it, but the number is still favoring Astralis. They fight tooth and nail on the side horizontally. Kanto just barely winning that shotgun fight. Honestly, made a huge difference. But the bomb side, well, no one was there to stop the plan from going down. Once that happens, Astralis, it's easy for them. Oh, they keep a barrier as well. They almost had it.
Ever so close, but you choose the right player of the two to go in and take that peek because as you saw, Forrest was such low HP, that gas probably would have killed him.
Yeah, that's a good point to note.
You got J9O at full HP, so just send him in.
just force into the gas.
Yeah. Defender lineup looking similar to what we've seen before.
But the attacker lineup has some new operators being shown, at least on Oregon.
Not locked in yet.
Not locked in yet.
There you go. You got
come on. There's 6 seconds.
This is why you don't talk about it until they do it.
But if you don't rush the side, we don't get to set it up, really. That's just going to be in the bomb side without us really realizing.
You got time right now to talk about it. You could say, wow, look, Forrest had played Blitz. See, look, I had enough time. I have more than just 20 seconds.
I wish he had played Blitz, but he's on the Thatcher.
Alas.
Sometimes you need more than 20 seconds to achieve what you want to accomplish. No shield. Oh, that's a shield, actually. But not for long.
The same thing that's happened all 3 rounds. 1 deployable shield, 1 Rotero drone. And Leon Gids keeps putting up that barrier inside of Elbow. And, well, one of the 4 that are brought by J9O are used. I'd say that's great value for Astralis.
I mean, it's incredible value. It's late. If you get to the late round stage, that backside is going to be so much weaker for the defending team. There's no backup. No.
Oh, crying.
No. It's the first bullet too. It wasn't the intent. It was just you just wanted to open up the window.
Spoit, look at that crossfire established in small tower. Astralis just dealing with a lot of chip damage. Piece by piece. Koi softening them up for the execute. There's no real post-plant damage to be done other than maybe the impacts that are in the pocket of Deepek. So getting them low on HP, you don't have to worry about a nitro cell, you don't have to worry about the gas canister because that's just not gonna come, it's not there.
No Finka, of course. We do see Finka being brought out occasionally, mostly for those chip damage scenarios. Like, they're gonna go for Hydra Parker, down the box to go. 3 members of Astralis.
This is a cheeky play, and they all hit the deck. Leon Gids activating those smart glasses. Nobody from Astralis coming to blows with Koi just yet, but there it is. Leon Gids in this tight corner, taking damage, but he doesn't know from where. Through the soft wall, what a read from Leon Gids. Astralis' gambit is not paying off. Iconic's been smooth on his shots. If Astralis wants to win this one, they're gonna have to be a little bit better in these engagements. Iconic is on low HP, as is J9O, so you don't want to put yourself in direct 1v1s. Play a bit safely. Flashbang goes by Spoit on Freezer. Both players from Astralis stacked up in the back of the bomb site. They have plenty of time to get onto the drone. But you know what's in play? A Solus. And Kanto Raketti can actually tell exactly where they're coming from when they're on those gadgets. Especially when J9O shoots away at the soft wall. He's the last one left. Iconic has been found and finished. Right by Elbow. Spoit doesn't need to do anything. That is the rest of Koi. Though Spoit could have been the one to take care of it. It's Deepek who gets the very final kill. Koi regained the lead.
An attempt was made for Astralis to catch Koi off guard, but it was not successful. They might not have had the information on it, but they were prepared. The moment the hatch got popped, Leon instantaneously gets into a safe position, pops the gadget open, no flashes or smoke to work against the Warden, and finds 2 kills. Astralis doing a great job of just slowing things down. See if Koi starts swinging unnecessarily, but they don't. The discipline is there from Koi. They're respecting Astralis and their clutch potential due to what happened on Bank.
Final defense now for Koi again. Based on the numbers on this map, you expect the defenders to walk away with a 4-2 We say that, but then we'll see a map that is historically extremely defender-sided.
Yeah.
Didn't we just cast an attacker-sided theme park the other day?
We did.
Things change.
Oh my god.
Depends on the comfort level of the teams, depends on the level of preparation, depends on attacker and defender bans. Those can also play a huge part.
Oh, is that 3 Capgun traps and 1 door?
At the top of White Stairs,
Yep.
it sure looked like it.
Oh boy. Well, you're right. Even the individual team style, or play style from teams rather, and how they match up. Astralis historically being known for a very good team at the execute, right? When you get the 5v5 on bomb side, Koi, very much the opposite. They're great at playing aggressive in the early round, and it's what they've been doing so far, and it's paying off. Spawn peaks, applying early pressure, finding those opening kills. Diffuser being lost from Astralis time and time again. Strategically, Astralis is doing great, but then Koi says, meh, take this gunfight and then shut that plan immediately down.
Yes, sorry, Edmonds here. Can I get a verification on the noise that they make? I want to know if Nick's noise is accurate or not. What is that? You sound like Waluigi. Look at that. They see the 3 Capgun traps, by the way. The game is up. And look at... Boop, boop, boop. Boop. Capgun's value obviously increasing. The more that the clock continues to go down. Why? Because you don't have the time to scout any of this stuff. Leon Gids now disconnected from the overall defense. It's a Dorms defense for Koi. Astralis will need to flush Leon Gids out of Tier 3.
The only thing is they can't. There's not enough members there. You need at least 2 or 3 members for that to work out unless you get the gunfight. Then Gids is looking for it, but as long as he has big tower control, Astralis can only attack from master bedroom.
Forrest is absolutely the type of player who's going to say, no, I got this, and then try it and die. An obvious concern. Doesn't take the engagement just yet. There goes some nades, and look at Forrest's HP.
Yep. You were right.
Good lord.
He's still alive for now. He's got 1 line charge in pocket.
Spiff, the first engagement, almost reducing Kanto Raketti to 0. Leon Gids gets the first pick. The remainder of Forrest is found out. Koi in great position to end this first half with the advantage that they need. All the while this is happening, Spiff trying to distract the Solus of Kanto Raketti, can't get it done. He loses a lot of HP in the process. Iconic will go downstairs. Astralis scattered throughout the map, closing in on the point where they will need to get that diffuser down.
Iconic playing Nuke against Koi this way is almost disrespectful, but it's working so well for them. Spiff injured, no one nearby. He might be out for the count.
Spiff again having a really tough series. Leaves just J90 and Shuttle up as Iconic does battle with Leon Gids and can't succeed. Oh. Look at Koi. They are so formidable. Astralis are eager to take every engagement, and Koi's gonna let them. First half 4-2 for the European squad.
Statistically expected. Rounds mostly still close. It's individual 1v1s kind of swaying the numbers one way or the other. But now with the halfway point being met, the sides they swap. Koi will have to attack against Astralis setups. Things will change now.
This bomb site really works to your benefit on defense. There weren't a lot of drones left. Even though the time was still there, Astralis didn't have a lot of those cute little buggies to drive around, gain information. I believe the memers on Twitch chat would say they lacked critical information.
Yes, that is the one.
First half in the books, tertiary bomb site, a meeting came out just 1 time. Laundry and Dorms played all the rest. In terms of opening picks, Koi almost perfect, either getting the first pick or trading very quickly after.
Yeah.
Only one round did Astralis actually have an advantage. That was all the way back in round number 4 where they got the diffuser planted as well. It was one of the 2 rounds that they succeeded on. Now, if you listen to the desk before this match, they underscored just how dominant Astralis has been on this map.
10-2.
10-2, and you expect them to be strong on both sides.
Yeah.
I think for Astralis, a victory is holding this Koi team to a 3-3 at minimum. So, are Astralis going to be happy only taking 2 rounds? Based on what we know of the way that this map plays, they should be.
Yeah. But will they? That's a different question, of course. Only they can answer.
That could be a troubling sign for them.
It could, but I mean, scrimming Oregon, as you do pretty much every single day as a professional Rainbow Six Siege player, you find yourself in this position rather often, whether you're good in this map or not.
There's Spoit taking some damage inside a freezer.
It's a quick injury from Koi. They got full map control besides the big tower. Forest is still creeping around. That area yet to be challenged. Koi's gonna lock down the staircases and initiate the phase 2 of this round. That is going to be the setup. Open up all the hatches, apply pressure, scout the bomb site and figure out where are the ADSs, what are the strong areas for Astralis, and are there any gaps we can exploit later on. That all builds towards that final stage of a round. My personal favorite, the execute. And often Oregon basement, you see a 5 versus 5 or a 4 versus 5 in the last 30 or 40 seconds in the round, and everything gets extremely chaotic out of nowhere. That's where the capital fire from Leon, the nades, the flashbangs, etc. are gonna follow through, and Astralis, they gotta hold their gun and fight because they have nowhere else to run.
I don't know if that was a botched nade by Spoit or if he was anticipating banking it off of the hatch. The crux of this execute for Koi is going to come in the hands of the Capitao. Both fire bolts and both smoke bolts are still there. And Leon Kids is going to do all of it. Not just in terms of utility, but he gets the first pick on the Forest.
It's a really good read, honestly, and again, numbers advantage plays a huge factor on this bomb side. Sure, it's the Jaeger gone, utility already put down, those ADSs are not in his pocket, but now there's one less gun on the attack inside. That's going to bode well for the execute about to come.
There is a Warden still in place, so Spiff could be the difference maker as long as they read into where this is coming from. Leon Kids will walk through the smoke. Flashbang's going out, but that's a team flash. That'll kill some time. And look who's waiting around the corner with the shotty. It's the superstar from the previous map. Astralis are waiting. Spiff and J90 get 2 picks, keeping these numbers close. It's a team kill from Koi. J90 and Spiff last 2 left. And it's J90 to take some damage, but break on through. Giving Astralis on their defense, their first round.
A very big turning point in that round for Astralis is how Shuttle played passive inside of that elbow position in blue, and J90 swinging offensively on that pillar door. It meant they could get 2 kills at the cost of 1, and then a team kill occurred as well. That's how Astralis, they equalized back to a 2 versus 2, and that is where they shine, playing so well together. You see it there, the 1 and the 2nd to follow. Spiff holding his gun into the freezer as well. Oh, it was a great cover attempt by Koi, but misfortune. It's a team kill instead, what could have been a 1-tap upon J90. A heartbreak of a bullet.
I want to say one thing about Spiff because we will spend a bit more time talking about the players who you might not know a lot about. Obviously, Spiff coming onto this roster, playing in some amateur leagues with Astralis to find his footing and to allow the team to gel with him. Spiff's first match with Astralis was not here at the 6th Invitational.
No.
But the level of competition that Astralis is going to face is going to be significantly higher at SI. Spiff still has been extraordinary for this Astralis team. He came onto the squad and almost immediately you could see what he brought to the team, often competing with the superstars that Astralis would play against. But to have him struggle on the first main stage game of what could be a long career, it's really not that unusual.
No, I mean, you're up against legends. You're playing with some legends as well.
Why are you doing that with the Scorpion?
Yeah, bad idea. Yeah.
That looked like I was aiming. Now, the one thing I did want to say about Spiff was that in that last cam reaction after the round was won by Astralis, Spiff was laughing, shaking his head. He might not be having a good game, but at least he's keeping his motivation up. J9O is gone. First pick goes to Koi yet again. This is something that you've heard us say an awful lot today.
Yeah.
We have no reason not to expect it to continue. Forrest decides to take an engagement at a bit closer range, and it works out better for him than the first time. It's a sledge of Kanto removed from action. Okay, Forrest.
Just redeploying the utility, why not? The first battle has been had, but Koi don't gain the map ground, and that's an important thing to note because sure, as an attacker, you can trade a 1-for-1, but right now, you're not gaining anywhere. Spot has one grenade left in pocket, there's a shield inside a trophy, you cannot go for a direct bomb site execute because this is the top stairs bomb site. You only have white stairs and then master bedroom and attic. And, well, as Koi, they're nowhere to be found in any of those areas. They gotta fight their way through, preferably where Spoit is right now, but he has no support.
Where is Cryan gonna go on the Emery? That's what I wanna know. Spoit drops, there's information towards the main door. Guzmat mine that was thrown out by Forrest earlier might not be something that can be pounced upon, but at least you know where somebody is, just like they know where Deepak is. In the ground. Leon Gids is gonna jump on in and then jump on out. Iconic will be frustrated by that one. He's also having a rough game.
Oh,
look at that, through the window. Leon Gids could have had a pick. Shuttle, little bit of lag there on the reaction. He was too focused towards the top of white stairs. Astralis have a good idea of where two of these three players from Koi are, but again, where is Cryan? Where is the Amaru? Is this a strategy from Koi to hide him and just have him Gara hook into the bomb site amidst the chaos? I mean, it's...
I don't know, he's downstairs.
He's downstairs just waiting towards white stairs.
Gonna walk up the white stairs.
He's not gonna have a hatch to go through.
No, it's gonna be a big window. Leon gets with diffuser and Cryan white stairs and Spoit cutting the cross.
And there's the Banshee to give him away. That's where Shuttle was eyeing just earlier on. Flashes go out, Cryan looking to isolate towards games. Forrest taking care of Leon Gates. Cryan with one, tries for the flick. The advantage goes to Astralis, and they've now tied the map.
Spiff playing very patient inside a trophy. Just understand that he's in a crucial position because he's the backbone of the entire bomb site. The moment he leaves, so does Spoit. They miss each other, but of course the bomb site favors the defense. Therefore, Astralis come out on top. Tactical timeout from Koi. 60 seconds to talk for both teams to their coaches.
I feel almost like it's a courtesy to be quiet during the timeouts now. During the group stages and then during the knockout stages that just ended, coaches were mic'd up. You could hear what they were saying. You could hear what the teams were saying. It's a lot more challenging to do that when they're on a main stage and there's an audience present. Either way, whether you can hear what is being said or not, I don't think there is any doubt that Meepy dominates that clock during a timeout.
No, he has to.
The value that he brings as a coach is heard in every single time that Koi decides to take that 40-second break.
Maybe always has one key note to tell his players during the tactical times that we've heard so far. Something very specific, where he says, oh, these guys, they prone a lot, aim prone level, aim crouch level. And it sounds kind of silly for that to be pointed out, but it pays off. If you're playing as a team that's always prone in corners, that was in the Dark Zero matchup, and you start aiming at the floor, well, you might start finding some free kills. And it's not always easy to recognize these things as a player in the server. There's so much going on. One thing that's for certain from me watching this game is Koi, they gotta figure out how they want to structure these attacking rounds, because so far they don't have a clear structure. Things are very messy, and it comes down to those wonky 3v3 subpar executes where you just kinda gotta either get lucky or hit a fantastic shot. Koi needs stability. It's what Astralis they have time and time again. Consistent teamwork, trusting in the process. That doesn't seem to be what Koi's doing right now when they start struggling in these rounds. Then they try a couple things until something starts working, but you're 4-4. Things have to start working now.
You already see some immediate changes as to how Koi wants to go about this. Astralis successful on the first two sites means that's the tertiary bomb site time.
It's an important moment, right? If you get that perfect rotation, all 3 in a row, well, Astralis go back to the strongest bomb set of basement defense. So breaking this streak is what Koi has to do right now.
Oh, absolutely. Again, this is the same, I suppose you could say, same thing that we said for Astralis.
Yeah.
Same condition.
Yeah.
If Astralis can win Laundry Supply the first time, which they did, and then win Meeting, they were in great shape to 3-3. Now, obviously, that didn't materialize. But just because it didn't happen didn't mean that the likelihood still wasn't there. Same thing goes for Koi. They win here. Well, number one, they regain the lead, but they're in good shape.
Wow.
J90 decides to go after Spoit. What an angle that is. Koi with the first kill. Again, we're going to keep talking about this. Nitro Cell goes from Forest. Misses, thinking that Spoit would be a little bit more aggressive, and the Nook paying off. This is why teams ban Nook against Koi. Cryan is incredible at getting in the building, incredible at finding those openings. He's not the only one that's incredible. All of Koi seems to have found an opening from above, and Astralis, they're losing out. They're losing that map control. And it's now Koi doubling up over the last 2 players of Astralis.
And Iconic wasn't a flanking, was looking to be successful. Deepak drones it out a second time inside of Attic, and then Iconic has to drop. Forest, same story. No one needs the side besides Iconic. He's gonna take this 1v1.
Leon Gids is taking matters into his own hands, but nobody sees Iconic. He'll run into a position where, from above, he needs to be very wary. Scampers away, finds some safety, knocked on over. Still more being done. How is he living? How does he get away? Diffuser now in the hands of Deepak. Plenty of time for Koi to get this one down. Forest cannot control it, and it was a valiant effort. But Koi are just better in the clutch. They had too many bodies, and they take the lead back from Astralis.
I can't believe Iconic lived for so long. I mean, the air jab as well. He gets out, but the round still goes in favor of Koi. And that's the round that they needed to win, because now they have this difficult task in front of them, the basement attack, where they had the 5 versus 4 last time with Leon getting that opening kill, but they couldn't make that work in their favor enough to actually win the entirety of the round.
Astralis still with their timeout as well. Koi have just been very, very proficient on this entry. Even if they lost those 2 previous rounds, their entry was almost perfect. But sloppiness and that team kill, the mistakes that came around that late execute, were ultimately what allowed Astralis to take the Laundry Dorms bomb site when it first showed up back in round number 7. Not sure if you can credit that as an Astralis victory, Nick, or if you can just say that it's more of Koi losing out on the round.
You can certainly argue the point, and again, Koi, they did the right thing. They got the right opening pick, and then very, very small things almost out of their control don't go their way. But to get a second shot at it, they bring the same kind of Orbit lineup, 4 grenades, the capital fire onto Leon Gids to enable the execute. Astralis playing the same defense as well, not playing too aggressive, just playing on the staircases, shooting the initial drone, falling back 1 room, and just kind of slowing things down, trying to buy a little bit of time. That's the only real thing you do in defense unless you are going for that aggressive roam, is that you need to burn down the clock. By killing these drones, denying information, Koi, they're taking half the map, lobby small tower freezer stairs being locked down by Cryan, Spot, and Kanto. Iconic still at a big tower.
Hold on a second here, hold on a second. Cryan is feet away from being in the bomb site yet again.
Yeah, bottom Laundry.
And they just don't know.
He might make a play off.
They're unaware. The Warden spots him. The jig is up. Cryan gets away, and maybe there's another avenue that they're not watching where he can try a second time.
That is the scary part about the Nook, and just the fact that he showcased the operator now means that they have to fear the entirety of this round. And it's why you gotta hold on to the staircases. It's why Ella even sees play in Pro League on the basement bombs out of Oregon.
Electroclaw spotted, good coordination now with EMPs going off. Capitao providing that very valuable utility that we were talking about Ying bringing to the team. You've got smokes and the secondary hard breach gadget. Capitao obviously can displace the defenders given the fact that he's got those fire arrows. J90 gets dropped. I imagine that's from a nade, but he'll be retrieved immediately. No! Look at the damage. That could have taken 3 of them down. Koi could have moved to map point on that one.
Jesus. The flying has to work out enough for Astralis.
There's another kill from Koi. They're just slaughtering Astralis. Down they go, and they'll collapse onto AST. Forest in the midst of this.
Oh, what?
He's got something going. Diffuser going down, fire arrow off. They will watch very patiently. Where is he gonna come from? They know he's inside a freezer. Ice in the veins of Forest. Can he vault on over? Deepak and Leon Gids have time to reposition. Koi just waiting. They're not giving him anything. Spotted on a drone. They know exactly where Forest is. Inside of elbow, there's a crossfire now. Forest in an impossible spot.
Great discipline.
He's losing all of his ammo. Look at that. These pre-fires. He has no idea whatsoever. And he's almost at the point of no return. Leon Gids seals the deal on Astralis' map. Now it's Koi's turn to go to map point.
They had the flank going for them, but no bomb set to protect and no value to be gained. I mean, it's a nice 3K from Forest, but it does not matter. And that's gonna force the Astralis tactical timeout. It's match point, it's now or never. If you lose the next round, you get a third map of board where things get even crazier. Most likely based on how that map plays out.
It's really just been steady as she goes for Koi here on Oregon. It hasn't really been that flashy. Look back on that bank map. Round after round after round that Astralis should have lost.
Yeah.
For Koi, this could have been a 2-0, obviously depending on what happens in this round, of course. But clutch after clutch after clutch, Astralis keep it close, they keep it very exciting. Come to Oregon, and things have been routine for Koi.
Yeah.
They haven't been flashy. There hasn't been really any impressive displays the same way that we see from Astralis. It's get in, get an early pick, get out if you need to, continue on with the advantage that you have.
Yep.
There's nothing really that sexy about it. It's just routine siege.
It's also about shutting down Astralis, right? Like, don't let them just run around the map like they own the place. Because honestly, a good attacking team, that's exactly what they're gonna do. They're gonna make it feel like as a defender, you have no business being off the bomb side. And Koi, they're taking full map control in 30 seconds on the basement roam. And I'm actually surprised to see that Astralis will return to this bomb site again with how things are shaping up. They got the Goyo, sure, but it's not like time's a problem for Koi. They're executing with 1 minute and 30 seconds left on the clock. I'm more surprised that they aren't roaming heavily aggressively and trying to shut down Koi because they're playing for the execute now.
So many rounds that could have gone in favor of Koi. Not just on map number 1, but now here as well.
Uh-oh. It's happening. The Blitz is locked in with the Lion.
And the Nook.
And the Nook.
This could be a very quick end to Astralis on Oregon if they are not ready for it. There is no Warden. That is a massive concern.
Yeah.
Smokes in the hands of the Blitz. Flashes that will go out as well. Rotero drone to scout in and gain some information. Shuttle missing out on it. And now there's elbow control for Koi. That's an excellent start. Both of these teams really haven't struggled to get that elbow control. And look at what this single Rotero drone is gonna do.
Value.
Huge value.
2 Goyo cannons as a Banshee and the door. The thing is, it's not going to be a rush for Koi. They're gonna set things up a little bit. It's gonna be Spot hitting the main stairs, Crying sneaking around, 2 gas inside of blue. They can go at any moment's notice when they want to. It's gonna be Leon Gids on the Blitz, of course, leading the charge. But they want to get all the pieces in the right position first. Make an informed decision instead of rushing blindly. Again, this is match point. You gotta make the right decision right now, otherwise you lose that initial lead of 2 rounds.
Crying is in, being guided by a drone. There goes Forest. Things starting out so well for Koi to push us to a 3rd map. Off-site, Forest not making any real noise. That's troubling. Rest of Astralis looks bunkered down in the bomb site.
They are totally bunkered in. This is where the Blitz starts to shine. Has 2 smoke nades in pocket as well. You got the Lion charge to keep people in place. And to make things even better for Koi, they got 1 minute and 20 seconds to just keep figuring out what the bomb site actually looks like.
Astralis has gone this entire half without getting the first pick. They have trailed in every single round. No trades either. That allows Koi so much time to just recalculate. Okay, we got an early pick. Where do we go next?
Well, they're going blue, Parker. Smokes are gonna go out, and then Leon rushes on in.
There's the Lion, down goes Spoit, and now it's Smoke, but Shuttle wins the duel! That's not supposed to happen! Astralis pushing back on this Koi entry, but wait a minute. You've got Cryin as the insurance policy.
Yep.
It's a 2v2. Deepak and Cryin have now made this so winnable. Grenade ready, they take advantage of that. Astralis clinging to life, and they survive at least one more round.
Spiff going on the offense in a 1 versus 2 to save Astralis? Who said he's crying under pressure? He's stepping up when it matters. Cryin was like, he's gonna stay in the corner, I'll pull out a grenade. Spiff says no, swings to Cryin, surprise. We have to grab to the blitz play by Leon. Going for the melee on long distance rather than the flash. Oh.
Shuttle just doing an unreasonable amount of damage to the calves of the blitz.
Some G11.
The iconic retakes. No timeouts remaining for either teams. Last round will be played clean. Up to dorms they go. You question the bomb site of Laundry Supply down below. Astralis, though, have now won it 2 of the 3 times they've played it. They've only gone to dorms once. They were successful that first time. So now they go back to a bomb site with a positive win rate for the defenders. Excluding this map, 55% of the rounds on this bomb site won by the defense. In keeping with what we know of Oregon.
5 seconds.
Not as strong as Laundry Supply, but still something that just you expect the defenders to do well on. Koi going with a very flexible lineup. Lots of explosives. Yeah. Flores being a must pick to deal with so much of this defender utility that Astralis loves bringing.
I love that Forrest is on the Ela here because Cryin has been a big problem for them on the Nuke. And Ela will shut that sneaking around immediately. The Griswold mines in important positions, white stairs, armory stairs, etc. to keep Astralis informed if anything happens.
And it was Forrest on this same Ela pick, if you remember, that got that pick on the Kanto routine.
Yeah. So it's worked before. It's almost like an insurance policy now. Opening kill, as you said, Parker, it goes in favor of Koi heavily in these rounds. So Koi did thrive early on, but Astralis' mid to late round clutch potential, it's always there lingering in the air. We saw it in the previous round. We might need it again.
The fact that Astralis are keeping it this close, despite only having a single uncontested opening pick, is phenomenal. Because every round, Koi are getting these picks, using that advantage, having the luxury of time. But Astralis still win 4 of those rounds. Now, as I said, there have been mistakes made by Koi. There's Cryin on the Nook to walk in. Is it a mistake that the Guzman mine goes off? No, it isn't. Astralis don't really want to engage with that. They hear it towards main lobby, they get away, Cryin over towards armory. He'll sit on Nook, potentially go on to drone.
Note that the generator wall to master bedroom is open with the rotate. There's no spare reinforcements. That's gonna stay open the entirety of the round. Iconic's playing close with the shotgun, trying to hold on to the ground, but Kanto has grenades. Rotero drones as well. He could get picked off easily by Koi.
Not just Rotero drones, 7 drones still on the board. And despite the fact that there's a mute being played, that's a lot of intel that Koi could have. Final moment. 60 seconds left. Koi hoping that this is a victory, forego overtime, and immediately move on. They start by getting Spiff. He doesn't know that Spoit is so close. It's control of white stairs. And now a nade goes out too, does a lot of damage to J90. The flank from Forrest comes in. Is that a nitro cell that goes off? Tossed out by Iconic. Another nade to go. No target, but maybe it'll flush you out of that position. This is where the Ela shines. Forrest just needs to be a little patient. He gets one, but Kanto Raketti taking care of J90. Forrest can only get a bit of Spoit. Spoit will not win that one at all. 3v3, Cryin to breach through the door, find an opening over towards dorms. They walk right in. Astralis far back. They've lost numbers, and they've got only Forrest remaining, who's boxed out of the bomb site by Cryin. This is such a tough duel. Deepak on the diffuser going down, and Cryin will send us to a 3rd map.
all the way. That's what's needed. Oregon in rounds is close, but Koi is so dominant in those opening kills. It really makes a difference playing 5 versus 4. And we saw it right there. They take it on second map of Oregon.
10-2 to 10-3. Streaks are made to be broken. Excellent performance from Koi. Not just here, but again on Bank. That first map, if you don't have iconic clutch, not once, not twice, if you don't have shuttle clutch once, this is a 2-0 for Koi.
Yeah.
So a mental reset for Astralis as Border awaits us. The thrilling conclusion between these two teams up in just a couple minutes.
I'm Nicholas Morton, but you know me as Pingu. I'm a 2-time Rainbow Six Siege World Champion and former top Rainbow Six Siege player in Pro League. Welcome to my Siege Ranked Bootcamp. We're talking 20 seconds left on the clock, you got the diffuser in hand, what do you do? Play the way that you're comfortable with, because you have confidence when you're in this position, that is when you're gonna be at your very best. Good luck.
You willed it into place. We got ourselves a map 3. Come on, yeah, I know you wanted Astralis to just take it, but you gotta hand it to Koi. They fought back, and we all thought with the amount of clutches that were going down in the series that this had to be Astralis to take it, but Koi still fought back. Before we talk about map 3, we're gonna recap our second that you just saw on our classic Oregon. Hello, I'm Mr. Medic, your host. With me are Jesse and, of course, Mr. Jack Fresh on the other side of the desk. Let's go through the map. You'll see highlights of it. I gotta say, this was much tighter also than, I don't want to say than we expected, because everything so far has been chaotic.
And that carried on throughout the whole of this Oregon, I think. Stylistically, I can't believe I'm saying this, but Koi were forced into playing a very, very default European meta way of playing Siege, which is not what they're used to being known for. It's not what they tend to play. It's not usually their win condition, but they went through it and they did it. I think they very quickly realized after a couple of rounds, you know, there was plays made on Jackal and random windows being punched and random areas being entered by Astralis, and Koi realized we've got to tighten up, we've got to play closer together, we've got to play closer to the site. They get that 4-2, and then obviously they get themselves back onto attack. And again, it was very much same. Yep. The rounds that they got drawn into playing Astralis game where it didn't look like there was a team plan, it just looked like gunfights, they lost. And they got forced into playing that team game, that default style that I would consider, and ultimately just got over the line on the attacks.
Yeah, and I think that adaptation, it did look good, especially towards that end of the game, right? You take a look at those last couple of laundry rounds, right? Rounds 10 and 11, where Astralis are doing some interesting strategies where they're spending a lot of roamers up on the big tower. They've electrified and reinforced the full wall from backstage. And what do Koi do? They just say, all right, we'll hit site at like 60 seconds, okay? And Forrest can bait up on the tier 3 tower. This is the round right here. They just look at this time, 50 seconds on the clock, 55 seconds. Everybody's in control of the site on the side of Koi. Forrest has to come back and make a 1v4 clutch. It's just not going to happen. I really do think that they kind of adapted to the things that were going well for Astralis, and they started to counter them, especially in those kind of rounds 9, 10, 11, 12.
So tight game overall, and there was a moment where we're thinking, wow, this actually might go into OT, but we continue with what we had on map 1, which is constantly flanking, constantly trying to lurk for any player on these two teams. A lot of it on defense, but we're seeing the same thing with attackers, trying to lurk around to get important picks and open up bits of the map.
Yeah, I thought the attack on the side of Koi really did a good job of finding those opening picks. You see the stats in front of you now. +4 on the side of Spoit, 5 and 1 on the entry. That's half the rounds in this game. He was involved, and he was very often being able to take advantage of that. I thought a lot of that did come from great droning from Leon as well. He was often able to either guide in Spoit or guide in Cryan, who also had a good couple of opening picks, to really kind of break that that map open on the side of Koi. So I like seeing that from their angle, right? I like that Koi were often able to start off on that Bigfoot.
And that's how the flow should work, right? Is that Leon is droning, Spoit is being the force that Astralis know about, that gets the entry. He wins that entry pick, it then allows Cryan to push in on the Nook. We saw him do it time and time again, and that just keeps compounding things. Cryan was a very highly rated player, but he obviously wasn't getting any entries. It was all Spoit.
Now you see the teams are getting back, huddled up, and they're almost set to go. So from our map 2 conversation, I'd like to talk about our third one. Production, could we pull up our map picks and bans, please? And thank you very much. There it is. We went through Bank in Oregon. Now we head to Border. Astralis had the ban, the final one. They remove Chalet, and we go to Border. Again, a very attacker-favored map as we know it. Very aggressive, brings out a lot of chaos, which you've already seen a lot of here. But there has to be a point where the entirety of Koi have to figure out what to do, because you talked about the adaptation on Oregon, Jack.
Yeah, I mean, if the win condition for Koi, they now consider that to be a very default brand of Siege. We're going to the wrong map for them. I love that flag, by the way. It keeps getting shown. We're going to the wrong map for Koi, really, aren't we? Because Border is all about gunfight heavy. It's about taking fast map control. It's about refragging each other and fighting for every single inch of the map when you're on the defense. Now, that's where Koi are currently losing this battle. They're winning the match when they outthink Astralis. So Border, for me, normally I would say I love Koi on this map. Today, I'm not so sure.
Yeah, I think Koi historically have gone for some kind of creative strats that haven't always worked out. We saw in the group stage some really kind of wild strategies. The Collie coming out to attack onto bathroom tellers was one that I really can remember back on, sticking in my mind. Astralis as well, though. I mean, they can go for some kind of fast rushes. They like their Amaru a little bit, right? They like to kind of get in there and find those opening picks. I think their clears on this map can be really, really good. So, I mean, it's a good map for attack. Obviously, we'll see what these two teams can do on it, but it's certainly going to be one that can get messy.
Quick point on operators, because the game is always almost ready.
Yep.
Jack, what are we expecting?
Well, the thing is for Astralis on the operator bans, especially on attack, they like to vary it. You know, I'm seeing a Buck ban, I'm seeing Nomad bans, I'm seeing Iana bans. It really, they do the homework on their opponent, see what they crutch on, see what they like to use, and get rid of it. For Koi, we're expecting a more default. The Bando could be a lot this tournament, even today, and then Mira as well. So I feel like Astralis will have looked at it, into it, and even if it's just getting Spoit off the entry, getting him off the Iana, maybe we might see that coming out from Astralis.
What I would like to see from Koi, I know they've been the exact same ops both maps so far. I'd like to see an Azami ban. I think that that's such a powerful operator on border. I think Astralis will run really well with it. Mira not so much on this map compared to ops like Azami, so that's what I'm looking for from Koi.
This is a classic EU versus NA game. These two teams are young gunners in many ways also. They played very chaotically in their games and also up to here their matchup against one another in the playoffs on the main stage. And the crowd willed it. They took us to map 3. So, are we ready for map 3? I have in-ears. I need you to go a bit louder. Do we have a map 3? Thank you very much. Caster's ready. And Taro Pengu, take it away.
Well, what I imagine will be an exciting finale to this series leads us to Border, a hectic and chaotic map that plays to the strengths of both teams. And even though the desk seems to think that it might not be Koi's day, so far on paper, this is a team that very easily could have put this series away 2-0 already, were it not for some inhuman clutches from Astralis.
I certainly wouldn't count out either of these two teams. Even if we're going to Border, I think it's going to get bloody. My one big question is, what is Astralis going to ban on their attacking side? The Nuke, the Iana, target ban the members of Koi? Because something has to happen to leverage that, because Astralis did not look that comfortable on the defensive side of Oregon.
No, they really didn't. And I mean, it's abnormal for us to watch a Koi match. And you and I have casted them, just a couple times.
Just a few.
And that Nook ban is so common to deal with Cryan. Now, this is not going to happen. It's a Yana ban. To be fair, that was one of the operators was talked about as a potential target ban.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense if Spoil's going 5-1 on entry rather, being super successful. You take that away from him, force him onto a different operator, make that nade economy more difficult to have, as Anna is one of 4 of the only operators that has those frag grenades, and Anna can easily broad every single round. That's gonna change on Border now. You only have 1 set of grenades most likely. That's if you bring the Sledge or the Nuke. The 4th operator is Glass. You're not gonna bring Glass grenades.
You didn't know that.
You shouldn't be bringing glass grenades.
You don't know that.
So, okay, my point is, grenades are gonna be a rarity to have, most likely only 2 in pocket in an individual round. Border is a map where you can do some pretty crazy things. You can rush almost every single bomb site. The Monty, the Blitz, Ying is on the table as well for both teams. So I would not be surprised to see a Warden every single round, just to make sure that if a Ying is brought, at least one defender can deal with that gadgetry. The Candelas going out, the smoke grenades, etc. Astralis first round showing us the Capital so far. That's going to be that execute-oriented operator. Koi are bringing both the Solus and the Warden. Deny information, see through the smokes and the flash grenades.
5 seconds to go.
A versatile lineup.
Solus makes a lot of sense as well because you can roam quite effectively with it. There's only a couple entry points that we see these teams tend to favor, and whether you've got an Oryx or a Solus, try to rebuff Astralis should they try to get into the building a bit too quickly. And based on what we've seen on these two maps, Astralis likes to play to the beat of their own drum.
Oh, yeah. And I think that's really going to be an important factor for these first couple of rounds, is which team sets the tone and the pace for Border. Because the attackers start running away with the rounds, defenders have to either, do something very offensive, go for spawn peaks, or to try and bunker up and keep the bombs alive. Whereas if the defenders do not allow the attackers inside the building, opposite story. So these first 2 or 3 rounds of border are really important for these teams.
Leon Gids inside a break room. Nade goes down below. Shuttle walks right in. The engagement favors Astralis. And they pick up 2 for their troubles.
That's huge.
Spiff has had a disappointing series so far. And after the heroics of the first map, both Shuttle and Iconic disappeared in map number 2. Shuttle getting the first pick already. Spiff finding the first pick for him as well. Both setting a good pace. And honestly, is exactly what they need.
Yeah. Border, of course, a less linear map than that of Oregon. That is probably the most linear map of all of Rainbow Six Siege in professional play. It allows for these openings from Astralis to be abused more, and it allows somebody like Iconic more freedom to work around the map. J9, he finishes off Crying. He was 1 HP from that earlier engagement.
First kill for Koi is in the hands of Kanto Raketti. But funny there to see the Warden get flashed out, but on go those smart glasses. Now it's Spoit to get up into the action. J9 picks up another. The brawl inside of the hole favors Astralis. Round number 1 is theirs.
You can see it, the moment they got that initial 2 opening kills, Shuttle getting the very first one, Astralis did not slow down. They're always being proactive, always going for that next step in the plan. Corey not in the position to punish it or shut it down. That means Astralis, they will just bulldozer through them. That's the difficulty of border attack. Sorry, border defense, is that there are so many long lines of sight. There's so many soft walls. You can essentially get shot at any given moment. And Shuttle just walked right on in. Almost looked too easy for Astralis in that round. That's where the questions come. What will Koi do to fix the problems of that previous round? Play closer together, that's for one. You can't die 1v1s like this with no trades going on. If Astralis can fight you 5 versus 3, you're almost guaranteed to take the round with how good their late game is. Koi, they thrive in the first, early half of the round. They need these early advantages to go even or in their favor.
5 seconds to go.
Border's the second most played map so far at this entire event. Trailing Clubhouse, picked 21 times. It's a coin flip map, the closest that we have to a map being attacker favored. 52% of all played rounds won by the defense, 48 by the attack. So when we see that number, again, tends to break down. What operators are banned?
Yeah.
What bomb site rotation do we see? The teams that play it, do they tend to be a very good defensive team? Do they tend to be very good on offense? Those things are all major considerations. So there isn't a ton to glean from an early start from Astralis racking up rounds, same with Koi. The good news for Astralis, they got the first pick in round number 1. They're close to doing it again. Forrest closing in on Leon Gids. There's a run out from the Solus.
Of course, Solar can see any claimer being put down on the map, although I think Leon hurt that one. No gadget needed. Astralis trying to set up passive leads on the map so far. Just drones, get a foothold somewhere.
Oh, there's Iconic on the Nook. Down below, inside of Customs. Yeah, you know what? Crying's a pretty good Nook, but if you leave it unbanned and Astralis sees some success on it, then maybe it wasn't a terrible idea to go after the Yana ban over the Nook.
Not at all. I mean, Iconic was all alone. Sure, he had a drone, but the other 4 members are halfway across the map, so he's just finding this individual success for Astralis.
We're 2 rounds in, Nick, and Astralis already has more first bloods in this map than they did on all of Oregon.
Oh boy.
Nice bounce back. Playing more like themselves. Nades tossed down from below, don't connect with anything. Only 1, or rather none remaining. 1 EMP in the hands of J9O. In terms of throwables, that's it.
Yeah, there goes the Archives window now. Smokes and fires and God, they can try and get that plan to execute in.
There go the fires. E1D to go as well, but the fire is lingering. They're boxed out at the moment. They can't get in. Crying finished off by Spiff. Now it's Kanto Raketti as well. Koi just dying 1 by 1. The first domino falls and then they're all gone.
Oh my. Flawless round on round number 2. And again, Astralis are everywhere. Koi are playing so close to bomb site, fearing an execute, which, to be fair, it was about to happen. They completely forgot about the fact that Iconic is on the nuke, just waiting for his moment to strike. So either Koi will weaken the bomb site by holding the flanks, or they will give up that exact flank that punished them by trying to make sure that they do not plant the diffuser down successfully. There's no winning for Koi right now. They're losing on all fronts.
So the space that Astralis is making, and I mean, the drone work isn't even what seems to be that impressive. I saw very limited drone work from Astralis through the execute. Yeah, the discovery phase is going to have an abundance of it. You're going to be on drones for the whole minute, at least 2 or 3 players on the team, gain intel, get in. I have no doubt that that first pick from Iconic was aided by drone work to get the Nook into the building, again, just as Cryan did, exploiting those blind spots and exploiting the laneways to the bomb site that are not being watched. Get in, get the pick, get out.
That's the thing about Borders, that every bomb site has an external, immediate access point to the bomb site. Teller's window, okay, not a great one, but it's there. That we just saw, Aka's Armory. Well, both bomb sites have an immediate door or window leading into the bomb site. So while roaming is great for Koi, they can't go too much on the roam, and the bomb site becomes weakened. Astralis, if they see that, they'll just rush for it. Koi knows this. Astralis, they have no issue going fast if it favors them statistically. Yeah, 1 versus 5 definitely favors the 5, not the 1.
We talk about intel, whether it be drone work in Discovery or whether it be drone work through the execute. The addition of Flores, yeah, you're going to want to use those Rotero drones to blow up the utility, but you also gain information from them.
Yeah.
And while you gain that information, you can use them as displacement. Somebody's playing on a deployable shield, somebody's playing next to a soft wall, you open that up. Not only do you gain info on that, but you also move them out of that spot. A second drone, easy to follow up on, or if the drone is being guided in, just as Forrest was, trying to bamboozle Spoit, but not being successful. J90 finds one for Astralis, so even though the first pick goes to Koi, it's traded back right away. Was that a Nitro cell that went off and did no damage to Shuttle, who now collects one on to Cryan? He's got security under his control from above.
You see Astralis, that they're a trade, right? Always playing 2, 3, or 4 members on the same side of the map, whereas Koi, they have 1 member side of Armory isolated, and Cryan's side of security also isolated. And both of those members, they fall relatively early on. It did cost the Armory of Forest, but I mean, that's the Armory's job. You go in fast, sometimes you die, sometimes you don't die. It's not a huge loss for Astralis. They get a permanent flank watch on drones now.
Very rough start for Cryan, unable to find the scoreboard. 3 players on Koi, in fact. Killless at the moment. Concerning one is Cryan. Leon Gids and Deepak don't tend to dominate the scoreboard because of the roles that they play, though they obviously still need to get kills. That's a no-brainer. Deepak will drop towards the bomb site. Bathroom tellers, the site. There go the Rotero drones. Selma's also going off. Tons of explosives.
Yeah, tons of time. 45 seconds is a really great pace for Astralis. Koi surrendering map control a little bit too fast. They can just execute when they want to. They're going to destroy the floor first, of course, get 1 drone into sight, get a little bit of information. But J90 on the window, 2 members on the hatch, last guy holding flank. They can just go for it.
Spiff was trying to scare them off. He walks in. Down goes Spoit. Usually he's a good head on his shoulders. He doesn't have anything on his shoulders now. Deepak will... No! It gets shot! At the last second, the Nitro cell could have been so good. Somebody's been in the shooting range, Nick. 3-0 for Astralis.
And guess what? That's Koi's tactical timeout again, burned after 3 or 4 rounds. Always being forced out early, and then they have no breaks to slam. They just gotta keep suffocating through these rounds to come if they don't start finding success.
Both teams used their timeouts in maps 1 and 2. All 12 rounds were needed on Bank. Same with Oregon. I wanted to hear the rest of it. I'm sorry, please. After the timeout that was taken on Bank, Koi won every other round, but the problem was they took it after Astralis had already stormed out to a 3-1 victory. That's how the scoreline ended up finishing, with Astralis winning with that impressive clutch at 7-5. On Oregon, the timeout that was taken by Meepy Net Koi the next 2 rounds, immediately paying off. Astralis took a timeout, and then they win the next round. But again, Koi's lead was just too much, and in that 12th and final round, Koi won the map.
There's something very, very clear in the Arbiter lineup right now that seems to have been influenced by that tactical timeout. I'm pretty certain maybe he said something along the lines of, guys, fight them. Go aggressive. Right now, strategically, it doesn't matter. If they plan because we're all dead, that's whatever. But we cannot just lose members. You give Cry Individual, give Kento Demazi, Leon Gates on Asami, every single operator besides Deepak, the core support player on this lineup, they can just take every single gunfight now with great guns and comfort on their side. I think it's a wise choice because these rounds are decided by Astralis in the first minute of the round because they're not making any mistake in their mid-round gameplay whatsoever. It is a clean border attack so far.
Cryan likes Nook so much, he decided to bring her on defense. I think that's very cute.
Okay. That's a fair point. The thing is, Cryan has to make it work for him, right? You said it, Parker. Him being 0-3 a bit concerning. Then gets a Deepak less. And Cryan is on the front lines for Koi, always in those early engagements and just losing them out. He doesn't have to help or support. No Echo, Yokai drones to help you. Valkyrie's banned by Astralis. You're working off what you see and what you hear. There's no external help besides default cameras really assisting these roamers. Whereas normally Koi, they have, as I said, Deepak on the Echo, utilizing those Yokai drones. That has not been the case so far.
Spoit 1 and 3 as well, somewhat concerning for the highest rated player on the team through this entire event. These were not Deepak's second highest rated player.
Yeah, Deepak's actually second highest in injury stats, which is very surprising, before this matchup at least.
It's a lot of players that have competed, so I mean their numbers don't matter. You say, oh yeah, he's 46th on entry. There's got hundreds of players that are here, at least over 100. Speaking of Deepak, he's taking a bit of damage. That's really it. The rest of it for Spoit, self-inflicted. Leon Gids, kill number 1. There you go. And looking for more, gets it on the fadeaway. First kill for Astralis comes in from Forest. He dies to Cry, and there's the Vigil coming into play. In the span of 10 seconds, this entire server is cleared out, leaving Spiff in a 1v4. Lots of drones available. He's got one in his pocket as well, but are you going to go to it? 1:15 left on the clock.
Beautiful C4 by Deepak. The lineup there from the side was as good as it can get.
Kanto goes down to a nade. Spiff has blown this round open. But he needs information. That's the bigger issue. 1 minute to go. This is really going to test the mettle of Spiff. There's too many ways to clear.
Koi finds the round. Leon Gids not just gets the opening kill, but he finds Iconic on the Nook inside that long hallway towards 19 off his double door. And that's a huge pick because now Iconic not going to feel as comfortable just walking around where he pleases as that Nook operator. And he has been finding openings in the first 3 rounds. That might not be the case going forward because now he has to be more cautious. That's the C4. Beautiful lineup. Cryan even got a kill.
Yes, he did. Woo. Everybody on the board. How nice. How nice, how quaint, how cute. See, we're not supposed to swear on broadcast.
No.
But there's nothing stopping the players from doing that. In terms of bomb site rotation, there's only been 2 bomb sites that they've gone to.
Yeah.
Armory 3 times, and now Bathroom Tellers will emerge a 2nd time. Not sure if it was a deliberate decision during the timeout to stick Cryan onto this role, but he's going to stay in the Vigil.
So there's a high chance here that Koi, they're expected by Astralis to be way off the bomb side. And that's why we see this kind of direct push lineup potentially, right? The Glass and the Ying and the Gridlock means a direct Tellers window planned if that's what they want to opt for.
I think they're going to take a little bit of time. Go upstairs, clear out a little bit, get the Rotero drone in play, have the Glass far enough back. Isn't this the same strategy that we saw Koi do once?
Yeah, we did. Are they just going to go for it?
It looks like they're going to. A potential vault in. The Glass gives his position away. Diffuser in. Forrest getting it down. Candela's to go off. It's chaos inside of the bomb site. 40 seconds off of the clock. Everybody's still alive. And the Diffuser is down. Smokes to go in. Track Stingers as well.
Oh my.
What a mess this is. And the clock will continue to run. Right now, nobody knows what to do next. We're at the halfway point of the Diffuser, and everybody is still alive. This is unprecedented. Flashbangs dumping in. There goes a Rotero drone as well. The gridlock will take from above. First kill goes to Cryan, but look at the time. Suddenly, you are at the point where you just need to hop on this Diffuser, and you can't get it done. Astralis thrive in the chaos.
Such a good read, expecting that heavy roam aggression because that's the adaptation Koi made after their tactical timeout, going for that direct execute. Call out, he might not look super happy behind his players, but he's proud.
Call out almost never has any emotion on his face. And I remember back when we were doing the NAL, we used to do exit interviews after matches. And it was shortly after Call Out had been picked up as coach for this team. Astralis, sometimes they like to do a lot of talking. During the exit interview, I tried everything in my power to get Call Out to engage in just a little bit of smack talk about their opponents. He would not take the bait at all. He was just so steadfast in, you know what, they play a really good game, we just gotta be prepared for it.
Okay.
So, he doesn't show emotion when you look at him on the camera. He's not showing emotion in victory. He doesn't really show emotion in loss. He's a very even keel presence, and I think that honestly helps center this team.
I was gonna say, that brings a ton of stability, having that core standing between the players is not really being worried all too much. And if you look at Astralis throughout the last 12 months, they're a very different team. I mean, they're the same players besides Biff, but the way they act in the server, their composure, their mentality, how well they play together in terms of synergy and trading one another out inside the game, phenomenal. They've really gone down and just honed the core principles of their craft as much as they can, and it's gotten them this far. The biggest stage of the year, the 6 Invitationals, top 6 guaranteed, but they want more.
Winner gets a date with G2. They punched their ticket. Defeating Wolves in an exciting best of...
Not again.
There's no way this is happening again. Hold on a
It's
second.
gotta be a fake.
That's a lot of utility to waste for a fake. Is it going to get them back on the bomb site? Leon Gidd's desperately searching to see if the Diffuser is going down.
Oh, they know something's up.
Could it be a back take? Leon Gidd's now over towards Tellers. Forrest is in on the Nook. It did look like if it wasn't a fake, something about this Koi defense has given them pause.
Yeah. Initial fake into a backside strike, and now chaos on the side of Koi. They don't know what's happening.
Forrest gets the very first pick. Spoit, he's having a miserable map. They need more from him. Canto Raketti, another one of the top fraggers on this team. They need more from him as well. Leon Gidds picks up 1 kill. Canto on the board with the kill onto Iconic. There go those Candelas, and both teams will fire back. Cryan looking for the secure to get it.
Oh my
He's
God.
last man standing. Spiff on 7 kills. They'll hunt down the Warden from above. Diffuser in the hands of J90. Out goes a nade. Not dislodging him, but the tinnitus will ring in Cryan's ears. Astralis have a stranglehold on this map at the moment. Cryan's made it back to the bomb site. Oh! He can't outduel J90. Missed opportunity. First half in the books, the most dominant side that we've seen from either team. Astralis emerge 5-1.
I know a lot of people are going to question why did Cryan drop back down to the bomb site in that scenario. It's very simple. He doesn't have a shotgun, didn't have a C4. He has to challenge horizontally because vertically, he cannot gain any more information, and his side didn't have any. Koi were relying on the solos to stay alive, to tell them where they were going to be planting, and that worked the first time around. But then, Leon gets in the solos, he got shut down. A very bloody upstairs trade, back and forth, 1 by 1. But again, Astralis, they come out in a 2v1.
I mean, Astralis gets the uncontested first pick,
Yeah.
but they just continue that snowball.
Yeah.
Rolling down the hill, gaining steam the whole way. Leon Gids coming very close to a successful spray transfer, getting both of them. Having that control of upstairs, Leon Gids still in the fight, would have likely turned the round on its head and given a major advantage to Koi.
When the last 2 rounds of the first half goes the way they do, Telos pumps a rush for Astralis into a fake, into a just absolute massacre. Koi have to question the reality of things, the actual state of this match. Can they believe what is actually happening right now? Because they're actually being played mentally very hard by Astralis. Now, of course, side swaps are happening. Koi can now get back in control as the attacking team, but your confidence, it's gotta be a little bit fragile after the last 2 rounds.
It's all about the confidence, especially for a team like Astralis. Their mood plays a huge role in how they show up. And right now, you can see it. They are fired up, succeeding in pretty much every way. Koi, by the way, struggling to get on the board first, just as Astralis did in the previous map. This time around, it was Koi having some great degree of difficulties with those first picks. Nothing really working.
Soul is giving all this information, where the drones are, where the drone person is as well. Koi taking first map control of CCTV, but honestly, Astralis, they don't care too much for this part of the map. They got Fountain, they got Office, they got the bomb sites themselves, that's all they want.
Spoit almost getting that first pick, but losing so much HP. Shuttle's turn. He's roaming downstairs in Workshop, but you got to pick where you're going to go. Cryan pick number 1, it's on the Forest. Leon Gids assessing the destruction.
Oh.
Coming so close. The pre-fire still dancing around it. This is like Battleship.
He ain't moving.
Oh! And he gets it this time, a proper read through the wall. Koi with a bang, 2 picks.
It's deep pick with that drone, the yellow ping information. Leon was right in his feeling as to where that enemy was, but the yellow ping just confirms it, guarantees it.
Spiff creeping up. His name on the tip of our tongue through most of these first 2 maps. Disappointing, but they know he's living up to it now. They know exactly where he is. Kanto worried, but Koi got this round in the bag. Unless J90 can do something. He's 8-1, by the way. Doing it for the stats at this point. Currently playing by Beepers. Down he goes. Metal and a bit of a scare from Spoit, who celebrates him on that one. A flawless start to the second half for Koi.
So we can look at that round from Koi and say, Spoit hit a nice shot, Leon gets with a wall bang, Cryan opening kill, but there is an unsung hero of that round. Deepak spent 80% of the entire time on drones. Even at that last 1 versus 5, there's a drone at the feet of J90 the entire time, leading Spoit into the fight. Flank drone spotted both the 90 flank and the break room flank. Every single one of those kills, besides Cryan's, was actually due to Deepak's information game on the drone.
Always like to highlight the things that don't get shown on the score sheet. Contributions that somebody like Deepak is capable of making to this team. On defense, when he plays on the Echo, the Yokai, scouting. Sometimes he'll keep them in sight. He'll be great, knock you off the diffuser. Or he can use them to scout. Again, there are contributions that come that are not easily visible. And for those that don't have the keenest of eyes,
5 seconds to go.
it's nice to know the value of these support players. First round for Koi on attack is successful. Again, flawlessly done. That's an excellent start, but they've got to climb out of a 5-1 deficit. We are not used to seeing 5-1s on this map in particular.
No. And I mean, one of the big reasons is that border can really go any way either round. We always say that border is the new coastline. It gets really bloody, really messy. Comes down to the not only individual gunfights, but how you play in them in union as a team to try and get into those 2v1s. You see right now from the side of Astralis, they got a member armory door, 1 member security. They're working together to try and isolate Leon Gids if he were to strike first.
Excellent drone work on the first round. You can follow it up. As long as they can keep that pace going, they're going to benefit a huge amount. Tracers go through that barricade right next to Iconic as he drops. Customs, nice read. And Leon Gids is prepared for it as well. Koi again, their drone work, immaculate. 2 picks, not just the first pick, but the second as well. They've done that both of their attacks so far.
Maybe solo should be played again. It was last round, but unsuccessfully so. Koi, they got the map control. They got Leon Gids in a deep position side of Customs. They got half the map at their disposal, and they're finding more and more and more.
And they're going to continue it. Astralis have been held off the score sheet for their defensive half up to this point. 4.5 minutes of 0 kills, and it's going to continue.
Oh my god.
Flawless back-to-back for Koi. That break the spirits of a team that need the vibes to be good, Nick. Shuttle in a 1v5. Floating in no man's land. There goes the nade, he gets the pick, denies the Flawless. But very valuable information gained from Shuttle now. Back inside of Customs. Shooting what certainly feels like more than 10 drones on the battlefield at this point.
Where's the diffuser, Kento? Like, he's not being planted yet. There we go.
Kanto, of course, the hardened support, who's often planting that diffuser, Nick. You have to forgive him for a second here. Shuttle knows exactly where they are. Diffuser goes down, and there are far too many guns trained into Shuttle for him to survive any longer. Now it's Koi with a comeback brewing.
Yeah. Information is such a vital part of their success, and it's incredible to watch because Astralis, I mean, while they also had information, they weren't leveraging these yellow pings to the same level that Koi are. They're finding half the kill thanks to it. Again, yellow ping for crying.
There's so many of them. And like I said, it feels like there's more than 10 drones on the field.
It's so unfair.
They are just permanently being surveilled by this Koi team. It prompts Astralis after 2 tough rounds to bring out their timeout.
Yeah, I think you got earlier rather than later. When you've already gone through your side swap after 6 rounds, you know you're gonna, or well, you can passively play it out just on this half-mount defense. Of course, you go to OT, things will shake up, but Astralis, they want to take this in regulation. Gonna take the timeout now to get ahead of the problem.
And the thing is, if you look back on every timeout that's been taken up to this point, both teams have used their timeouts in every map. Each team has won at minimum 1 round immediately after calling the timeout. 5 for 5. Considering that, if you're Astralis, the thinking is, all right, this should be good enough for us to get that 6th round. Then you move to series point.
Yeah.
Again, it is fully within your grasps to close this out without needing overtime. We have not had an overtime just yet. The first 2 maps did go all 12 rounds of regulation, but while the teams have been closely matched, not close enough for those 3 extra rounds to determine a winner. Again, Astralis winning that first half 5-1 is enormous, and it has given them such a tailwind. But sometimes you end up adrift without any wind at your back at all. And that could happen to Astralis here. There's a reason why this Koi team won a major.
Yeah.
They've been able to dig deep, and that phase core that might not have had as impressive a performance here at SI was one of the best teams over the last year, and Koi were able to handle them in Berlin. You don't just win a major by lucking out. This is a team that you can never count out at all. They made it to the final 6, technically the final 5.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, I go back to that bank map. A couple clutches, even 1 clutch from Astralis, falls flat, and it's a 2-0 for Koi, and we're watching OXG versus W7M right now.
Yeah. And now at that timeout, Astralis is going to show us a change up in their performance and their gameplay. One big thing that we learned here with the insights to coaches' tactical timeouts is just how valuable information that is easy to digest is to give to your players, right? Feedback that can be applied the next following round. And it's why I think that you mentioned, Parker, that teams are finding success right after a timeout. Things are easy to digest, easy to apply, and they can be done so immediately. Astralis needed around here to show that that's the case again. Koi playing it, cautiously, slowly making their way through security, but down below is J9O on this Solace.
This is an aggressively attacker-favored border. Only a single round won by the defense. I mean, we looked at Astralis and we said, hey, look at how good their entry is. They're able to take up space so quickly, force out these players from Koi. And now it's Koi doing the exact same thing in return. In fact, based on what we're looking, basically dead even.
Yeah.
The first 2 rounds for Astralis, one of them was flawless, same with Koi. That gives me that feeling that once again, we're gonna need at least 12 rounds.
Oh, we certainly do. We certainly do.
This is cheeky. Leon Gids reading through the Kiba barrier and Kanto as well. Astralis was hoping that the trend would stick. Still doable, but it's looking dire. Those first 2 picks for Koi. All 3 rounds so far, they've been in a 5v3. They haven't thrown it yet.
Oh, Koi gotta slow things down though and play the numbers advantage. They're close to bomb site.
They only have 1 drone left, excluding the Rotero drones. Now they have none left. All this fighting is gonna have to happen without advanced intel. Astralis reduced to just 2, now to 1. The timeout puts Iconic into a 1v5. Astralis certainly feeling like they're in a timeout.
Oh boy.
Sit in the corner and stare at the wall. Koi 3 in a row. What a comeback this is.
Yeah, an enormous comeback. I mean, my one note I had for Koi to win this third map was shut it down. And I mean Astralis, right? They're key members, they're clutches, and there are ways of finding into these rounds. They're doing so perfectly on their attack inside. They're not letting Astralis have any breathing room at any point in the round.
Like, look at this. So much of this round was spent with Koi under 3 drones. Now, mind you, they could be anywhere, but I mean, for that round in particular, Astralis were exemplary at being able to find the drones and get rid of them. But Koi still won those engagements. And it seems like through all 3 of these rounds that Astralis are just not in tune with where Koi is going to come from.
I fully agree. And there are a couple of complications here, because they might suffer the same issue that Koi did. If you go too far in the roam, bomb site's weak. If you stay too close to the bomb site, well then the roam clears way too fast and easy for Koi to deal with, and you got the Nuke open, and you got the Ying open. So you're being pressured on both sides of the equation right now, and we saw how well Astralis could utilize that when they're on the attacking side, but they're also struggling in the exact same scenario with the side swap. It's very concerning to see, because it looks like Astralis only really have 1/2 figured out. And right now, that second half they're missing, we're seeing the gaps and the flaws.
Koi win this round. We sit at a 5-5 draw. We will again need all 12 rounds. We hope none of you had plans other than watching Rainbow Six today. All 3 maps were played in Wolves versus G2 earlier, and given the way both OXG and W7M have played at this event, I expect all 3 maps to be needed for that contest as well. It's coming up right after this one ends. Again, the winner of this series gets a date with G2 in the lower bracket tomorrow. Loser goes home. Koi have been perfect on their entry, these 3 attacking rounds, getting the first 2 picks. Kanto Raketti very nearly losing his head. That would have break the streak.
Look at this. They got Ying on one side, Nuke on the other. It's been red though. The Astralis are holding the entry point. That's Iconic, the Nuke player himself.
And he gets it. Astralis the first pick that they so desperately need. More will need to be found, but they've got some breathing room and they don't need to worry about Cryan leaving and trying another way into that bathroom teller's site. Now both Kanto and Spoit will hit a Guzmat mine upstairs. There go the Candelas. Try to alleviate some of this pressure over by Fountain, but suddenly it's Astralis fighting back. You can't ever count them out. They'll continue. Deepek in a 1v5.
What is happening?
Astralis are just stopping them now. No flawless round. Deepek knows how dire this one is as well. He's been here before. On cam right now by Metal, top Metal, and down the main stairs he goes. Astralis just need to wait a minute. 60 seconds for them to sit on series point. Then the climb for Koi becomes 2 rounds in a row to go to overtime. Deepek taking his time. He has the diffuser. They know exactly where he is. And Astralis are gonna send multiple troops at him. He's good for one, not good enough for the other. Astralis on series point.
Oh, Koi. Now, it's all or nothing Crying has been their way in through these rounds, and Iconic recognizing it, expecting it, and shutting it down immediately makes it so much more difficult for Koi to find the success. The crossfire, the long lines of sight we spoke about earlier, such a present issue on border. And Astralis is set up without that triple wall being breached on each side. It's so hard to pick apart. Where they go, that's the question. Astralis got everything open besides tellers.
I mean, where do you go and you hope to win for the first time, right? You cannot go back to tellers for the remainder of this map. The one bomb site that you've been successful on only reopens if you go to overtime, which means that you go just as you did on your attack, 1 and 5 on their attack.
Send them home.
Send them home.
High stakes, of course. Whoever loses, they only get to play this best of 3 on stage, and it's every single player's dream to play on this kind of stage every day of their careers. Very few get to have the privilege of even playing a single best of 3. It's a heartbreaking moment for teams that lose. The winning team get one step closer to any Siege player's biggest dream of lifting that hammer. Astralis, they've gotten to a grand finals before, almost winning a major. Koi, back then known as Rogue, they found that success. Leon in this round finds Shuttle. They're building the opening kill, but another engagement awaits him. Iconic runs away.
That's absolutely enormous. Picking off Shuttle, looking to keep Koi's dreams alive. Major winners, but that's not a world championship.
Oh, not quite, but it's damn close.
If Koi goes home, that leaves just 2 remaining world champions by my count. Fabian, the coach of G2. Julio over on W7M. There's Leon Gids down. Forest drops, so does Iconic. Working in tandem with one another, they'll retake the top of East.
Yeah.
They suspect there's somebody outside, and they're right about it. It's Kanto. What are you doing? Spiff a rookie mistake, and Kanto can feast on the corpses of Astralis.
The risk assessment right now, a match point for both teams. I mean, they're both making the hard choices right now, fighting every single area that they can. Kanto with a perfect read finds 2 for the price of 1, putting his team in the 3 versus 2. That could very well be the defining factor for Koi in this round, but Astralis, their late round, we saw it on Bank, we saw it on Oregon. This is where things get scary for Koi. They got 4 drones to work with, and they need all the info they can get.
Well, I mean, they've got flashbangs, they've got nades as well, so there's a saving grace if you don't want to engage in a direct gunfight. And you've got arguably 2 of your strongest players still on the board for Koi, with an advantage and with 1 minute to go. But where do you put your forces? That is the real question.
Right now,
Ash charges going out. You can hear the explosions. Execute coming any moment.
Koi on the security side, all 3 members playing together, not risking the isolation. Could cut that main Bieber rotation. Then Astralis, where they choose to play, is also their stock. They're both in armory. It's a full commitment by both teams.
J9O read into this. He was far enough back, and he'll play the pixel angle. This is a tough shot to make. Gives his position away to Deepak. That's the diffuser in hand. Cryan takes out Forrest. J9O's got 10 kills. Can he pull off a clutch of his own? No, it looks like the collapse is coming. Just too many bodies thrown at the problem. Koi stays alive.
Man advantage, it makes all the difference. Imagine that's a 1v1 or even a 1 versus 2. That is so much easier for our Astralis to figure out and problem solve. Leon Gids with that opening kill, leading the charge for his team instead of customs. Set the tone for the round. The Koi, they want to fight back. Kanto with the double. Asami tried to go for a run out with that Claymore being shut down.
I gotta go back to what was the play from Spiff there. I mean, he must have known in Kanto's position. That was a call that was made at the top of East.
Sometimes things get missed. I mean, there's so much happening in the rounds of these players, and miscommunication can easily occur. The pressure, of course, as well. I will say, Spiff going for the aggressive play on match point, you can respect it. Having the nerve to attempt it, even if it was the wrong play. He's 7-7 so far, going even with that death in the previous round. Iconic, gonna play a vital role on the Solace, as you can play vertically on both Armory and Ventilation Bomb site to deny the diffuser plan and gain that information. But Koi, they keep clearing the downstairs area. Ventilation Customs, the first place they go. Then they work their way up. They understand the layers of border. Start down, work their way up because of that verticality.
Very quick to the punch so far for Koi. Bringing the Ying as well. No Warden to stop this. Not that Warden is an absolute requirement, but certainly it helps.
Certainly helps. I will say Capkin with C4 downstairs, J9O. When Koi walk in security, that could be a problem for them. But again, the layers are being understood. Drone downstairs, know there's a Capkin, there's a C4. Now they're gonna deal with that problem first before they hit security. It's a really well-read situation by Koi.
Neither of these teams have needed overtime. They've needed all 12 rounds. We find ourselves in a very similar situation on that 12th round. A 5-1 half for Astralis, we noted, was unlikely to be repeated by Koi. We might be 2 minutes away from eating our words.
Maybe.
This first pick is going to be critical. So far in the second half, the team that gets the first pick has gone on to win the round. Leon Gids, not unlike a bull, kicking up dirt, waiting, trying to draw somebody out, shooting away. Surely gets the attention of Astralis, but no movement from them.
No. As J9O and Leon gets downstairs holding each other off while the fight is upstairs.
What do we say about that first pick?
Wins the round.
Forrest is down for the count. Koi in a 5v4. Now the walls close in. Candela's as well. Nades to go over towards half wall. This is a very tough place for Iconic to be in, but J9O says something else about it. Nade finishes off Iconic. That's Armory control. Astralis gets on the board, but the advantage in terms of numbers stays in the hands of Koi.
J9O killed there and gets inside of security across the map on a horizontal gunfight while that mini execute happened upstairs. It doesn't impact what happens in Armory, but it does mean that Astralis, they're not that poorly off. A 3v4 is easily winnable for them. Got 45 seconds left, ventilation bomb site, and J9O still has that C4 in pocket inside of Customs.
J9O's been the star of this map for the team. You find him get put in an unwinnable situation. An entry through detention, and Spoit takes some damage in the process. J9O has to fight his way out, but that's a big pick for Koi, looking to secure overtime. They know they have the down. Spiff and Shuttle to run back to the bomb site. It's Vents. You can hear the telltale sign of the LMG going off. Koi will get ever closer. But you have to be very wary of this time. They're boxed out because those Kiba barriers. Shuttle engages. It's Spiff to clutch out the newest player from Astralis, and he's putting together a great body of work. But all about Spoy sending us to overtime for the first time in this series.
They both want it so bad. They're fighting for it. They're taking the gunfights. They're not slowing down. The J9O could have been the hero inside of security, but gets wall-banged into an injure. A devastating moment. Overtime's in the menu. That means a best of 3 in terms of rounds on this final map. It's almost like it's back to 0-0. That's how the players think about this. Don't worry about it, guys. It's just like the very beginning of the third map, except we only play 3 rounds. Don't be afraid of winning. Don't be afraid of losing. Just play it round by round. No timeouts available from either team. It's just the players who have to problem solve.
Literal life on the line for Koi in game.
Oh.
Frustration, but you got to keep that mental up. They might not be major winners, but Astralis made it to the finals in Charlotte against DZ. They've been in trickier positions before. They have the mental to bounce back. They decided to hang tight with DZ, despite the fact that DZ could have mopped the floor with them. No, no, no. People keep counting Astralis out.
The difficult thing now is, because of the nature of overtime and who gets to start defense and attack, things are now changed up. You've just played 6 rounds on your respective sides, and now it gets flipped again. It can be very difficult for teams to adjust to this. And given what we saw, it's a very attacker-favored border. Well, Astralis, they will get 2 out of 3 rounds in attack. And of course, Koi, they get 2 defenses. Whoever can adapt better and win their defensive side, well, they can essentially control who ends up winning this match. But since Koi starts there, they gotta find success there guaranteed. They can't just win their single attacking round, then they lose.
Yeah, in terms of these sides, we do see some oddities occur in overtime. The trend line very rarely does hold. But from what we've seen so far of the 12 rounds, 10 for the attackers, 2 for the defenders. Astralis get the benefit of attacking twice. But again, they haven't been here in quite a while. They're picking away at the Kiba barriers from above. Leon Gids is the one holding up the fort. Or holding down the fort, really. I mean, it supposes whatever direction you want. I suppose it'd be holding up the fort in Australia.
Upside down. Astralis, they're standing out pretty straight, though. On the archive side of things is J9O Forest and a +1 member taking office in their control. That's almost in the bomb site.
Iconic looking for the first engagement. He finds it, but he's not successful. And there's the Azami. Leon Gids in the same spot on the same operator Spiff died on, right by the door. The Nook has found an opening. Forrest getting the diffuser down. Astralis maintaining the tempo they had the first time, but Kanto blows them to pieces. Diffuser retrieved. Koi still trail. They need to box out these last 2. That's the diffuser down again. No way you don't check for that. They'll get him back up. A little worse for wear. Spoit retaking from above. They'll retake together. Cryin, seen, spotted, damage being done. Astralis knows that both players from Koi are in the same spot. Shuttle attempting the diffuser. Second time for Astralis. Is it a charm? Yes, it is. And into the post plant, these 2 teams will scramble. Spoit on the jump out. He misses the opportunity. An easy read from Astralis. Cryan's fortunes decided to rise when he went onto this vigil. Oh, he doesn't have information on the 3 last players. It's the king to kill Cryan. Astralis again on series point.
And Astralis completely dictating the pace of the entirety of the round, hitting that opening kill, hitting the bomb side, and yeah, things didn't go their way. Kanto's phenomenal C4 double kill, that's a play from him, but the frost map, an oversight from Astralis' attack, it stalls out the round for 30 seconds, but they get the attack in the end. Koi gets to go twice on defense if they were to win this following round when they go to the attack. And they would have to find success. Astralis, they can also just do it first. Figure out this defensive round. You go 8-6, you send Koi home. 3.5 minutes is left possibly of this match, and then it might be over.
I hope your heart can handle these matches, really.
Attackers have located
Wolves G2 is exhilarating, but I'm going to be a bit biased and say that I think we got the better of the 2 matches so far. What awaits us in W7MOXG? Will there be a North American team in the grand finals tomorrow? If you're a fan of OXG or the region in general, you hope that they overcome the Brazilian juggernaut that has been W7M at this event.
objective is to defuse a bomb.
Oh boy. As an IGL,
look at this.
Leon Gids, he calls for the glass.
Look at this.
He calls for the Ying and the Lion. That signifies the archives push we've all seen before, and it gets very tricky for the defenders to pull that apart. Iconic on the Warden could be the playmaker. They're not gonna go just yet.
Say what you will about these 2 teams, whether you cheer for Astralis, whether you cheer for Koi, there is no way this round is not thrilling. All the tools from Koi. They've had no problems on attack, same as Astralis. And they're about to bring a world of hurt to the doorstep of AST.
It's worth noting that Kanto is not there. He has the fuses at a break room. Might be a fake, actually.
Might be. Astralis did it to him. There go the Candelas. Maybe the attention over towards Metal. Smoke's now going off. Leon Gids amidst the confusion. He gets kill number 1. Hops in, hops out. That's all he needs. Spoit gives another advantage to Koi. This 5v3, but Spiff is holding up quite well inside of office. That's diffuser down as well. It will need to be retrieved. It's Cryan to pick up the case. Spiff still sitting in this position. Spiff don't whiff.
No smokes from the side of Koi.
Koi are opting for something different. They wanted it. They wanted it to be, but then they can't. So now it's gonna be what? It's gonna be Armory.
Yeah, I mean, they have to change the plans when there's no smokes and Leon Gitz and Kento died. Gotta change the course of action now. You got time to work with, but you might have to go in the offense and find some kills. I don't think you can plant here.
There's no way Leon Gitz just decides to unsheath the secondary and go close quarters combat as Glaz, right? That's silly season. There's certainly no way that that's gonna happen. Of course, now that we said it, that's exactly what it is. We wanted a rush. We didn't quite get it.
Well, they went for the fake instead, and now they're just kind of bleeding out Astralis, making them questioning where exactly is the opponent. Well, gonna knock down that armory door with pressure from Sandwich Window, and Leon gets on main stairs.
They don't have the hard breach to deal with this, though. This will just be pure pugilism. Fist to fist, combat to combat.
Oh,
Flashes go in, and the smart glass is up for Iconic as he moves over. Leon Gitz takes down Shuttle. Yes, he is. The glass is indeed going close quarters combat. He gets found by Spiff, still in the spot.
Oh.
Iconic tries for his best, but Koi are doubled up on the door, and we have all 15 rounds.
the confidence from Leon to make that call as the leader of his team on match point when you're down. The glass of all things, the fake execute into just saying, guys, the strat didn't work. We gotta just walk in a door, walk up a staircase, and take the fight to them.
What a shot by Leon Gitz. Mr. Giddens doing business.
That means we are going to have our absolute very final round.
No more. 3 minutes from now, one of these two teams will be sitting in the stands for the rest of the weekend. The other will begin their prep work against G2 Esports tomorrow morning.
It comes down to defender curse. Honestly, seeing as Kors on this final round finds himself on the defensive side, it's up to them to break it and really win this round and win the game. If the Astralis just do the thing they've always been doing, well, they will naturally just be the big victor. Ventilation bomb site. It plays out across the entire map, vertically, horizontally. Astralis have a lot to work with now. Let's see if they can be as ballsy in their calls as Leon Gitz and Koi were on their side.
I will say this, win or lose, this is Astralis' fourth lower bracket match. They are running the gauntlet at the moment.
Yeah.
And they are now a single round away from either going home or going on. That is as impressive as you can really get. And again, this just shows Astralis is going to keep and hang tight no matter which team they're playing. Astralis sent Sonics home, they sent Lost One home, they sent BDS home. They're looking to do the same to Koi. Koi, in terms of what they bring here. Major winners looking for a world championship. Kanto looking for another hammer.
Yeah.
Which team comes out ahead? Favorable side goes to Astralis, but it really is a coin toss of a map. It's been a coin toss of a series, and this is a coin toss of a round.
Comes down to how you attack it. Of course, the early kill, building that advantage that has been the defining factor for most of these rounds, and both teams playing a little bit slower than usual. Don't want to risk giving up that death early on from either side.
Worried about whatever sloppiness might come if you try to get into the building a bit too quickly. Both of these teams know a thing or two about rapid attacks. Saw Astralis pull it off in their previous round. Koi tried it but failed.
Oh, the nade!
Look at the nade go in. Deepak will free. First pick goes to Astralis again. These teams getting the first pick. Monumental. Spoit keeps it close. Down goes J90, the best player statistically for Astralis. Now Spiff is down as well. Koi have retaken from above. The Lion looking for something. Shuttle is ice in his veins, but they will trade. This is a madhouse going on.
And no one gets the advantage. It's completely even 2v2.
Spoit and Leon Gitz damaged. Astralis at full HP. No explosives to be tossed on out. Spoit will reposition. He's been so good this second half. 1 minute remaining for both of these teams. 1 minute remaining for your time at the 6 Invitational. Astralis still making calls in the final 40 seconds right now. Iconic can go for the drop. Soft destruction happening. But Forrest is almost out of those skeleton key ammo.
Yeah, I don't think they can plan this scenario. They're gonna make this choice right now.
He drops, they hear him. I'd imagine so. Iconic fighting Shadows. Sound of the diffuser will go down. Forrest attempting it. Iconic has the correct read on one of the last two players. They're not moving in. He sees the shoulder of one. It's a post plant. Caught by the Oryx.
1v1.
Leon Gids to save his team. But Astralis accomplish it. They get it done at the final moment. The dream continues for this NA squad. And the miracle run continues for Astralis.
Lower gauntlet run is one of the most difficult things to do. The fatigue's gotta be setting in. I'm sure they can feel it, but the job is not done yet.
Could you ask for a closer match? Could you ask for a more exciting finish? I couldn't imagine it. How do you top that finish to bank? Well, how about a 15-round border in a 1v1 post plant? Good Lord, what a game. And Astralis continues to get it done right when you think they're out of gas. No, they're still very much in it. They leave a trail of bodies in their wake through this lower bracket run. It will continue apace tomorrow against G2.
If there's one thing I can say about that is that Fabian has a flawless record against North American teams. If Astralis go the entire distance, they're doing it in the most historical way possible, taking out every single obstacle in the greatest of fashions, the best teams in the world, back to back to back to back.
We are down to the final four at the 6th Invitational. 1 Brazil, 2 NA, 1 EU. A stunning finish to map 1, a stunning finish to map 2, and a stunning finish to map number 3.
Yeah, Koi, of course, they're going home. I mean, they'll be watching from the crowd, of course, but their run in terms of playing, well, it ends right here. That was their final match.
And honestly, what an impressive showing from Koi. Really, Astralis are no slouch. They continue to surprise us. They continue to send good teams home. Koi, just the latest victim. It started against the Sonics. People thought that they would be one of the final 4 teams. But Astralis stunned us. EDS, the most recent victim prior to Koi. Major champions. Back-to-back major champions sent home by Astralis. That is one hell of a performance and one hell of a fact.
They can certainly be proud of themselves, and I think a lot of teams and even casters, we kind of clocked them out early on. I mean, Koi doing group stage looked a bit shaky, but they really shaped up and rose to the challenge, got out of groups in upper bracket, made it this far in such a close series against one of the best looking teams here of Astralis. They'll be going home knowing that they did their best.
They just won't die.
No,
they just won't die.
Blood armor.
Astralis is in position to be eliminated, and they just won't die. This team has some kind of magic right now. And again, this lower bracket run, if they want to make it to the finals, they have a lot of work to do. They've got G2 up next, then they've got the loser of W7M versus OXG, and if they succeed in both of those matches, then they go to the grand finals. It's been a long run. You don't want to hear from us anymore, though. We know you want to hear from Astralis. You want to hear from Iconic, and more importantly, you want to hear from the beautiful Ian Chambers on stage.
Parker, thank you. There can only be one man who stepped up for the interview. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Iconic. Astralis are on a wild run. You are taking out big names left, right, and center, and you've just done it again, sending home Koi. And that last round must have had your heart beating out of your chest.
Man, it was crazy, you know, just down to the wire, 1v1, 7-7. What better can you ask for as a Siege fan? So, you know, just a hell of a game from them.
You all enjoy that, right? That final round. Whew. Lots of people are saying that you're the underdogs. Is there any part of you that feels a little bit underestimated as you continue on this lower bracket gauntlet run?
I mean, it's all hype. We don't pay attention to the noise. We just stay focused on ourselves. So, you know, that's all I got to say.
I love that. And, I mean, it's pretty obvious that you've kind of got a home crowd, sort of, right? I think we've got some Astralis fans in the building. You know, Charlotte, we were there together, the Charlotte Major, and you came ever so close to raising that trophy in the air. And you had that home support back then. What's it like at Siege's biggest event to offer with this level of support, and you're only a matter of steps away from the biggest prize available?
I mean, it's just amazing to have the fans here to support. You know, it's just incredible seeing everybody in person, but especially people who cheer for Astralis. You know, it's crazy. So I just got to thank all the fans for coming out.
You know what, Iconic, I feel so uncool standing next to you. Just give me 1 second, hold on. Is that all right? Is that better?
That's my dog, yeah.
Iconic, right? G2 up next. And I know that you're very capable of talking a good game. You back it up on the server. Anything in particular you want to say to that G2 roster right now ahead of you facing off against them?
I mean, talk is cheap. I'm not going to really say anything, but, you know, they're a great team. So, you know, we're just going to get our preparation down and we're just going to come to play. So, you know, I'll see them in the lobby tomorrow.
Batman, are you going to lift the hammer?
You know, I can't worry about that right now. I got G2 next, so I'm going to stay focused on that.
Cool, calm, collected. There is only one Iconic in all of esports. Ladies and gentlemen, one more round of applause for Astralis. All right, we are now going to throw back to the analyst desk as this crowd continues to chant the name of Astralis. Milos, do I look sexy in these shades or what?
You always look sick in any shades, or not, Ian. There it is. Ian Chambers from the radio. And you saw it, Astralis victorious on an interview. Always classy and cool. Welcome back to the analyst desk. I'm Milos the Medic, your host. With me are Jesse and Jack. And at the end, I have to say, I was on the floor early because I can't believe it. I don't know. I'm very glad I took out insurance before coming here. Because a heart attack is not something I'm willing to risk when I'm away from home.
It's true.
No, Milos, I mean, these types of games only come around every so often, right? Where every single map could have gone either way. It really came down to the wire. But Astralis, they are that team. They're going to go against all of our predictions. I doubted them. You doubted them. Fresh doubted them. It doesn't matter. They're still on top. They have a massive win over Koi, advance over through to the lower bracket semifinals against G2. Puts a smile on my face.
They just won't die, Jesse. I can't explain this. Like, you know, we go into map 3, and let's go back all the way to the lower bracket. Map 3 against Sonics, 7v5. 1v4 clutch. We go map 3 against Lost One. 8-7 on border. They get themselves through on the very final round. You go to the BDS game, 7-5 again on the third map. And then here, 8-7 again. They just keep finding a way to win these final rounds. They're like cats. They just have multiple lives, and they keep using them up.
And you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the days when, obviously, it was the height of G2, and we were saying, never count G2 out until the match is actually over. Now we can apply that same sort of mindset on Astralis, and I can't wait to see what they do later on in the bracket because they go up against G2 Esports, and that is a game I'm definitely going to be sitting down here. I have to sit down to watch it in its entirety. Really looking forward to it. But we had all 3 maps. We went all the way, Des.
We did.
As our great Tim, we hope you're doing well, by the way, Tim, would say, really put us on the edge. What happened in those ending moments on map 3?
I mean, we had the 1v1, right? We had the kit going down inside events. I was worried about the cover, right? Because we obviously had the trades favoring Koi a little bit towards the end of that, coming back from the 2v1 into the 1v1, but my God, Forrest. I mean, he has had some moments throughout this best of 3, I think particularly on Oregon, where Forrest was looking a little bit shaky, where he was, you know, sometimes not in the greatest of positions. But when he's on, and we saw that so many times here in Border. This was another great round, round 5, where he gets in with the rush strat, plants the defuse kit, and then goes upstairs in the gridlock to help cover it as well. I mean, his positioning is so good, and it's, again, always that factor that pushes Astralis into that late game, into the potential for that clutch.
I think Astralis, and I say this all the time, they draw people into their game. They don't draw them into traditional Siege. And when teams are playing their game, Koi played their game today, which was all about gunfights, which was all about map control. And Astralis as shrewd operators, they're very intelligent players individually, where they can just pop up in really, like, almost it feels like random. It's not random, it's just locations where they're expectant of an enemy, wherever they can find a gap and slip in, and they pop up and get these kills all the time on the attack. And obviously, it was the attack that got them over the line in the end. There was only 2 defenses in 15 rounds.
If there's any players to highlight, who would you highlight in this case, Jesse?
Oh my God. I don't know. Maybe Forrest. I mean, you can't just ignore that play. I also, again, thought he had a great round number 5. I think if you go back as well, had some fantastic plays throughout this map. So maybe Forrest, but honestly, he was at the bottom of the scoreboard. Everybody on this team played so well today.
Spoit at the top, +6, still not enough to pull the team, and it really depended on which side these teams were.
Yeah, Spoit on the defense was like 1 and 6 or something. He really brought it back in the second half of that game on the entry, and obviously the Ayana was banned away from him as well. So it showed good mental fortitude from him, and I think with Koi getting the choice, Koi getting the choice of the starting side initially on the ban phase, and they chose to start the defense, probably kicking themselves right now, wishing they'd started attack.
Then who would be our MVP just in numbers? Because I guess you can put all of the players in here as MVPs. It's Shuttle on here with only an EPS of 109, which normally is not what you see with an MVP, but he was doing a lot more than just putting one stat on there.
The only player, and I am going to repeat this, in a best of 3, Shuttle was the only player that was positive on Astralis, and he was +1. That doesn't tell you about Astralis. I don't know what does.
It comes after their BDS win where none of them were positive, and they still won that BO3. Incredible performance from Shuttle. I don't know if we've seen a player turn around a tournament just like that. It has been insane from him. Him coming forward, of course, was rated 100th out of 100 players before this best of 3. For him to come back, get MVP, obviously those are just numbers, but man, you can't doubt this guy.
He has some seriously important rounds. When he goes, he makes some really important plays, some really important kills. And I'm not just talking in the context of this game, I'm talking in the context of the whole lower bracket run.
All right, Jesse, would you like to tell us a story?
Yes, I mean, Milos, there's so many amazing clutch rounds that we could highlight, but I've chosen to instead highlight a round that kind of goes back to something I was talking about way in the early desk, right? Before the game had started, we talked about bans, and I said that I would like to see an Azami ban coming through from Koi, and I don't think them not banning the Azami is why they lost this. I mean, this was an incredibly close game. They could have absolutely won it, but this is kind of a good example of why I thought that would be important. So let's start off by just taking a look at the field. Of course, we've got, it's tough to see, but this is going to be iconic playing that Azami. Already you can see a lot of the barricades have been used up in security. They've kind of given those up. They're no longer playing around that area. And he's going to get this opening pick on the very top of the map. On drone is crying, bit of a miscalculation on where the players were at. Not really what we're focusing on, though. We'll keep on going with this clip, and you'll see he gets that one pick, and then what does he do? He covers himself up. Little Kiba barrier right there to make sure that they can't get through to him. It's going to be a bit of a problem for Koi as they keep on trying to push forward. Now, they've got a Ying coming in. You can see it now. This is a Ying play that's going to try to force some players out. Again, it's going to be very difficult for them to get through these Kiba barriers, and as soon as another one gets generated, there it is. Blocking off the doorway one more time, then through the soft wall, kills Spoit. This is just one of those fantastic plays that I thought needed to be highlighted, and there's one other thing I wanted to mention right before we finish up with this. Take a look. The main counter to those Kiba barricades, the Rotero drones, not a single one used by Deepak. Now, I think this was a bit of an anomaly. Generally, Deepak was pretty strong on those Forest drones, but still, that's the type of power that Azami brings to the game, and I think it's something that Astralis do often utilize very well here on Border.
Thank you very much, Jesse. What a beautiful story you tell. I wonder what it's like to hear a bedtime story from Jesse J. Chick.
It's not great because it's about siege and death and all the frags that go down in the game, and usually the kids don't. Yeah, usually the kids don't appreciate it before bed.
I think Excel sheets would set me to sleep.
He has got the biggest Excel sheet I have ever seen.
Oh, thank you.
That's a lot coming from Jack. All right, fair enough. Gentlemen, that was an incredible matchup. I'm very happy to have been here in the middle of it all to witness it. Astralis, make it forward. How would we pull up that bracket just to put everything into perspective one more time before we toss it to our break? Because there is a third matchup left for today, our final best of 3, and that is the upper bracket of W7M versus OXG. Are you ready for that? We'll see you after the break.